On a beautiful day here in the Bay Area, we're ready for North Coast Section Baseball Championships. We are live from Fremont Christian High School, site of the Division 5 Section Championship game. Good afternoon, everyone. Jeff Kurtz alongside Brian Vilvin, our camera person today, Andrea Palladino. We are live from left field here at Fremont Christian High School. You can see we're shooting through a fence, and rather than have Andrea scale 30 feet into the air along this fence to see if we can bring you an unimpeded view, this is what we've got, folks, as this fence surrounds the beautiful campus here at Fremont Christian's baseball field, the site of the Division 5 championship game, as the Head-Royce Jayhawks get set to take on the Valley Christian Vikings, a rematch of last year's championship game won by the Jayhawks. And Brian, as we look at today's game, an outstanding matchup between the Jayhawks at 22-5, whereas Valley Christian comes in with a record of 19-7. This year looks very similar to last year. Head-Royce won their first regular season matchup, lost their last two, won the championship. This year they lose their first game against Valley Christian, win the first game, lose the next two. They're hoping history repeats itself here today.
Well, these teams are very familiar with one another, Jeff. They both finished tied atop the Bay County's East standings with a 7-3 record. This will be the fourth time they've faced each other this year, each team winning at least one of those contests. Like you said, they matched up last year in the final, and they're very familiar with one another here.
Aaron McNeil is the head coach for Valley Christian. He's got a very young squad, just two seniors on the team. One of them in the starting lineup, Will Cantrell, Evan Opperman behind the plate. Let's get you some lineups for these two squads. Head-Royce will be batting Tynan Challoner in the first spot. He's the catcher. Nico Horner, the shortstop, bats second. Reed Gibbs, the second baseman, bats third. Matt Forster is your third baseman. He's batting fourth. CJ Novogradek is going to be playing left field, batting fifth. Michael Greenfield, the center fielder, bats sixth. Ian Peters, the first baseman, is batting seventh. Our first pitch of the game. And we are underway. And then Steven Farinaro, the pitcher, bats eighth in the order. Ian Latucci, the designated hitter, will bat ninth for the right fielder, Ben Hoxie. Jared Dalrymple, on the mound for Valley Christian. He goes high. He is going to be throwing to Evan Opperman behind the plate. Josh Stevens down at third. Vince Volpatti at short. Matt Rooney is your second baseman. Jake Kolashaw is at first. Then the outfield, Hunter Schaefer is in left. Thomas Navarro in center as this one's fouled away. And Will Cantrell in right. And Head-Royce led by longtime head coach Mike Talps. Aaron McNeil is in his sixth year at the helm for Valley Christian. Mike Talps has been at Head-Royce for 32 years. This is his 29th year as the head coach of the Jayhawks. This pitch is going to be lifted in the air towards center field. Playable, and fading on it and making the grab is Thomas Navarro. Challoner retired for the first out of the ball game. The dimensions here at Fremont Christian are tight in the corners and deep in center. 295 down the right field line, 290 down the left field line, 337 in the power alleys, but a deep 390 to straightaway center field. So think of the Polo Grounds back in New York when the Giants used to play there back in the early part of the Willie Mays era, and that's what you got here at Fremont Christian. Though the Polo Grounds to center field was a good 440, so a little bit shorter dimensions here at Fremont Christian High School as Nico Horner steps in, batting .468 this year. He takes strike one from Dalrymple, who right-hander comes in, and the curveball is going to be high, ball one.
Well, Jeff, that fence is also about 30 feet high all the way around this facility. So although it might be short in the corners, you got to really get that ball in the air to get it out of here.
The 1-1 pitch is going to be, I'd say, in the dirt, but this is a field turf field. So the brown you see out there, folks, the only dirt on this field is on the pitcher's mound. That is it. Everything else field turf, including the batter's boxes. So no need to dig in if you're at home plate. This one is going to be slapped up the middle, base hit. It's going to head towards the gap. This could be extra bases. Heading to second base is Horner. Here comes the throw, and Horner is in, standing up with a double to right center. Nice job by Nico Horner going with that pitch, and Head-Royce has a runner in scoring position with just one out in the top of the first inning. Dalrymple, his stats this year, 10-3 with a 2.33 earned run average. This is his 13th game started in 15 appearances now. 4 complete games on the year, 73 strikeouts to 35 walks. So a 2-to-1, just a little over 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, a very good earned run average. He's been a pitcher of record in 13 of his 14 appearances. Again, 12 starts. This is number 13 on the year. Dalrymple comes set, and his first pitch to the plate is going to be hit to the left-hand side, through for a base hit. Holding is Horner at third. The ball quickly in from the left fielder. That was Hunter Schaefer hustling in. And Reed Gibbs, we barely had a chance to introduce him, takes one pitch and singles to left, and they're runners at the corners with one down.
Well, that was a nice play there in left field for Valley Christian by Hunter Schaefer to hit the cutoff man and not let the runner advance from first to second. So the double play still in order here. Infield going to stay back at double play depth, but if the ball goes to one of the corner infielders, I think they'll look the runner back and get the straight play at first.
Now the corners are in as the batter is Matt Forster, and he takes strike one. Forster batting .355 this year, 4 homers, 34 runs driven in, the starting third baseman for the Jayhawks. Batting from that right-hand side, wearing number 13. Dalrymple in a little bit of a jam here in the top of the first inning. To the plate. This is up, ball one. A ball and a strike. Our home plate umpire today is Gary Kirshner. 4 umpires today. It's an embarrassment of riches for the umpiring crew, usually working with 2 during the regular season, maybe 3 in some of the playoff games. 4 today. We'll identify the rest for you after this pitch. Dalrymple's going to toss over to first. Back in easily is Reed Gibbs. At first base is Mike Coleman. Second base umpire Jason Hutchison. At third base, Julian Macias. And an honor for these umpires to get a championship game. This pitch is going to be in for strike 2. So a ball and 2 strikes on Forster. Gibbs not in motion at first base. And Forster's got to protect. Dalrymple, a strikeout would be big here. To the plate, this is hit right-hand side foul down the right field line. A little bit of a breeze. You might be able to hear it in our microphone. It's blowing in from right field. Coming off the bay. A very warm day, 90 degrees when we arrived here at Fremont Christian High School about an hour and a half ago. A little bit of a cloud cover, not dramatic. And it's supposed to be warm into the evening. So a great day for baseball, especially as it cools off a little bit here in the Bay Area. Gibbs is going to stay at first. This one's going to be fouled away. Off the screen, right-hand side. Nice job by Forster protecting with 2 strikes.
Yeah, real nice at bat here, forcing Dalrymple to throw a lot of pitches. 5 pitches here in this at bat, still a 1-2 count.
Dalrymple to the plate. The runner goes. Strike 3 called. The runner's going to get down to second base, so Forster caught looking for the second out, but Gibbs moves up 90 feet with the stolen base, and there are runners at second and third with 2 down, and C.G. Novogradek is coming to the plate, the starting left fielder. A .407 hitter on the season. Doesn't have a home run, but he does have 24 runs batted in, and with a base hit, Brian, he could end up with 2 right here. Runners on the move with 2 outs. The first pitch is high, ball 1. It's going to be interesting to see how the corner outfielders play it. Because it's so short, it's going to be difficult to advance 2 bases, especially on a ball hit to left. But to center, a lot of room to run if you're a base runner. A lot of territory out there. Dalrymple's 1-0. He's going to be low, 2-0. He does have a base available over at first with that bag empty and 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, and with a 2-0 count here, you don't want to leave something over the plate. You've got that open base, like you said. It's a hitter's count, so he's going to be looking for a fastball here, and you don't want to give up a base hit for a couple of runs.
This one is in the dirt. Nice job behind the plate, Evan Opperman. It is not a deep backstop. So it's not likely that Horner is going to take off from third if the ball were to get by Opperman. I think it would have to bounce well away from him. But it is a very short backstop. Our home plate umpire, Gary Kirshner, if he takes 2 steps back, he's going to hit the fence. This pitch is in there for a strike on 3-0.
Taken all the way, forcing him to throw a strike. Now on 3-1, it'll be interesting to see what Dalrymple decides to do.
It's a hitter's count right now for Novogradek. Dalrymple sets. That is in for another strike, and the count is full.
That was a great pitch. Low and outside on the outside corner.
Great
now
spot.
full count. Yeah, he can do anything here.
That was a fantastic spot by Dalrymple, and a nice job Opperman setting up behind the plate. Novogradac on 3-2 with 2 down. Going to bounce this one down to third, and it's going to bounce foul. Nice job hustling in Josh Stevens from third base just to make sure that was going to take a hop foul.
Well, you saw the ball took a huge hop toward the dugout there, and it just as easily could have hopped back into the field to play with that turf. So good job playing that ball out all the way.
We could see a few of those field turf type bounces, high choppers that guys beat out over the course of this game. This one is going to be high ball 4. So Novogradac draws the walk on 3-2. Dalrymple couldn't work all the way back. The bases are loaded with 2 down, and the batter is going to be Michael Greenfield with a huge opportunity to get his team on the board here in the top of the first inning as time is called. The shortstop, Vince Volpatti, is going to trot in and talk to his pitcher. Greenfield batting .303 this season, a couple of homers, 15 runs batted in. And the right-handed hitting Greenfield steps in wearing number 8, Head-Royce in the green jerseys. This one is lifted in the air, down the left field line, and foul out of play. Off the rooftop along the classrooms of that left-hand side. Head-Royce in the green jerseys with the white lettering, the white pants. Valley Christian, as you can see. Wearing the red jerseys, black lettering, white pants, black hats.
Well, Jeff, this at-bat is going to set the tone for the game. Either Valley Christian's going to get out of it unscathed, or Head-Royce is going to come away with runs.
There's
so
strike 2.
Huge momentum on the line here in this at-bat.
Well, Dalrymple's way ahead, Brian, right now. 0-2 as he's going from the full windup with the bases loaded, counting on that Horner isn't going to try to steal home, and that's unlikely on 0-2 here. The pitch from Dalrymple. Lifted into the air towards left center field. That is going to be off the wall. Multiple runners are going to score. Let's see if it clears the bases. Hustling home. Here's the throw to the plate. Sliding in head first safely is C.J. Novogradac. Down to third goes Greenfield. He has cleared the bases. Head-Royce the early lead. What a shot by Greenfield on 0-2. And he drives in 3 runs with a double and then advances to third on the throw to home plate. What a clutch piece of hitting by Greenfield, Brian, with those 2 strikes.
Unbelievable, and driving the ball into that left center field gap. That was very impressive hitting and a huge boost for Head-Royce.
Ian Peters steps in. Peters, the big first baseman for Head-Royce. Now with a runner at third, and is going to get a breaking ball for strike 1. Peters batting .392, 4 homers, 23 runs batted in. He is just a junior at 6'7", 285. If you can't find him when you're throwing to first base, time to get some glasses. There's strike 2 on another breaking ball from Dalrymple. He is a good-sized target for Head-Royce infielders. But now he's in an 0-2 hole. Dalrymple looking to work his way out of it with just the 3 runs. Another breaking ball, strike 3 called. So the last 2 outs retired looking, but not before Michael Greenfield on an 0-2 pitch doubles in 3 to give Head-Royce the early lead. You're following North Coast Section Division 5 Championship Baseball right here on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. While we've got a moment, folks, let's go through the lineup for you for the Valley Christian Vikings, and then the defensive alignment for the Head-Royce Jayhawks. Shortstop Vince Volpatti will be leading off for Valley Christian. Josh Stevens is your third baseman. He's batting second. Jared Dalrymple, the pitcher, will bat third. Jake Colashaw, the first baseman, bats fourth in the order. Evan Opperman, the catcher, bats fifth. Will Cantrell is the right fielder. He's batting sixth. The second baseman is Matt Rooney, batting seventh. Hunter Schaefer, the left fielder, will bat eighth. Adam Mishnowski is the designated hitter. He is batting for the center fielder, Thomas Navarro. At the high school level, you can forego the designated hitter, or you can bat for anybody in your lineup. And today, head coach Aaron McNeil electing to bat for Thomas Navarro. In the ninth spot in the order, Adam Mishnowski batting DH, playing DH and hitting in that ninth spot. Now let's look defensively at Head-Royce, and a very good pitcher on the mound, and Stephen Farinaro. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a moment. He'll be throwing behind the plate to Tynan Challoner. Over at first base, Matt Forster. Third base, Matt Forster. The shortstop is Nico Horner. Reed Gibbs is at second. Ian Peters is over at first. C.J. Novogradac in left field. Michael Greenfield in center, the hero of the hour at the moment for Head-Royce. And then Ben Hoxie is in right field. Ian Latucci batting for him in the batting order for the Jayhawks. And now we look at Steven Farinaro, the senior, at the moment heading to UCLA next year, though his head coach, Mike Taubes, telling us before the game that it is very likely he will be drafted. So he's got an interesting decision he might be making in the next couple of weeks after the amateur draft. 11-1 this season in 14 appearances, 13 games started. He's completed 5 of them. His ERA, you're going to need to see with a microscope, folks, is 0.80, under 1, 148 strikeouts to just 17 walks. So I don't know how Valley Christian is going to manufacture runs against Farinaro, but they have their work cut out for them. And Farinaro, of the 3 games played by Head-Royce against Valley Christian this year, the 1 game Farinaro started, they won. So Mike Taubes is relying on his senior starter, the right-hander, wearing number 10, and he'll be facing Vince Volpatti, clearly one of the best hitters on this Valley Christian squad, leading off for the Vikings in the bottom of the first inning. And Farinaro is going to hit Volpatti on the left shoulder, and that is a painful way to get on first base to start the game, Brian, if you're hitting for Valley Christian, though necessary after a 3-spot put up by Head-Royce. But when you're only going to see, right now, Farinaro walks maybe 1 guy a game, and so you're not going to get many base runners.
He's got an over 8-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, which is an incredible number, and hits the first pitch he throws, hits the batter, and we'll see if Valley Christian can make something happen.
There's a strike on Josh Stevens, the number 2 hitter in the order for Valley Christian. Farinaro, in all the innings he's thrown, and there have been 70 of them, he's given up 26 hits. So his whip is very low, let me tell you. Here's the pitch. The runner is going. The throw down to second base, and in safely is Volpatti with the steal, as Challoner, who throws from the left-hand side, so the rare left-handed throwing catcher, couldn't quite get the ball down there quickly enough. And now a runner in scoring position for Stevens. The count is 1-1. Farinaro is going to step off the rubber. Stevens batting .446 this year. No homers, 25 RBIs. That was Volpatti's 27th stolen base. 5 guys for Valley Christian in double figures in stolen bases this year. This one is going to be low. Challoner is going to check the throw, and back is Volpatti. So this is how Valley Christian's game. They don't have a lot of guys with a high batting average. I mean, Volpatti and Stevens both batting well over 400, but not a lot of guys in the order batting above 300. Only 4 guys of the 9 batting over 300 for Valley Christian, so they're going to have to manufacture runs today, Brian.
Yeah, and that's a good way to start. Get a steal of second, and now you make Farinaro think about you out there at second base and move it around a little bit. Obviously, Farinaro's looked over a couple times and then thrown back already once, so that helps out the hitter just enough potentially to make something happen here.
Volpatti dives back in safely under the tag of Horner, who's covering it short. Now Volpatti's going to run. There's a strike, and they can't get the throw, and this is where the left-handed throwing catcher might have an issue, because standing on the right side is Josh Stevens, and he was blocking Challoner's throw. Challoner would have had to throw behind Stevens or step out in front of him. So Volpatti down to third with a couple of steals, and Valley Christian can answer here with a base hit, a sacrifice fly. Volpatti here's a swing for strike 3. Challoner is going to hold up, and now he's got a man caught in a rundown, and Volpatti's going to dive back into the bag, and Stevens is on at first, beating out a play at first base after the ball bounced on the dirt on the swinging strike 3.
Don't see that very often.
No, that's a error on the pitcher because it's a ball in the dirt on a wild pitch. Even though Challoner blocked it nicely, Volpatti was down the line. Coach Taubes is claiming there might be interference, I'm thinking. But right now, on the strikeout and the error, Stevens is over at first base. And Volpatti stays at third. Volpatti twice broke down the line. He broke down once. Challoner faked the throw to first, looked back at third. Volpatti started to hustle back. Then he went towards home again, thinking Challoner may throw to first. And Challoner, trying to protect the run, held on to the baseball, and Volpatti stays at third with a head-first dive. And Stevens is on at first base. Meanwhile, our umpiring crew is determining if Mr. Stevens is going to stay at first base. Or was there an interference call?
Well, we've got 4 minds out there talking it over. 4 different angles on seeing what happened. And
normally our umpires, they have a conference of 2, maybe 3.
Everybody's safe.
Everybody is safe. But the committee meeting results in a positive outcome for Valley Christian. So now they have runners at the corners on a hit batter, 2 stolen bases, and then a strike 3 swinging error on the pitcher Farinaro. And they're runners at the corners for Dalrymple, who can definitely help himself, the pitcher for Valley Christian. Farinaro is going to take low. Here's the throw to second base. They're trying to draw a throw so Volpatti can score. And now here's the throw to home plate, and Volpatti is in, and down to second base goes Stevens. And that is Valley Christian baseball in a nutshell, folks. Manufacture a run without putting the ball in play.
Wow, that was impressive. I was a little bit confused why the runner stopped before second base. I was like, oh, he's going to get tagged out. And then they just tried to bait him into making that throw. And nice heads-up running there at third. And that's a great job by the third base coach, assisting his player, letting him know when to take off. And a beautiful head-first slide. And that's got to hurt on this surface.
Yes, it does.
That head-first slide into home plate. No dirt down there to help you out.
It's only the bottom of the first inning, and Vince Volpatti, after the hit batter, 2 stolen bases, and then that head-first slide down there, he's going to be ready for an ice bath after this inning. That was Aaron McNeil, the head coach, and also coaching at third for Valley Christian, who was sending him. So a runner at second, a 3-1 game. Here's a bunt down to the first base line. Dalrymple is heading back towards home plate. Nowhere to go there, as he's going to be tagged out by the first baseman, Ian Peters, but down to third goes Stevens. So a sacrifice bunt, unassisted to first base, and there is 1 down in the inning. And the batter is Jake Colashaw. Colashaw batting for the left-hand side. Farinaro is going to go from the full windup. Fouled away into the net, 0-1. So it's been an interesting first inning, to say the least. Our third base coach, we mentioned, Aaron McNeil for Valley Christian. Jim Anthon is over at first. Farinaro trying to work his way out of it with just the 1 run. This is going to be swung on a ball in the dirt. Nice breaking ball by Farinaro, and it's 0-2.
He's thrown that breaking ball a number of times. It's a very impressive pitch.
Farinaro, a strikeout would be huge here, and he does have 148 of them this year in 70 innings. He's striking out better than 2 batters an inning. He's already struck out 1 this inning. This one's in the dirt. Nice job. Blocked. He gets away from the catcher, Challoner, but because of the short backstop here at Fremont Christian, Stevens is going to have to stay at third base, and the count's 1-2. That would just be too dangerous. You know, it's not a deep backstop, as I mentioned at the top of the first inning. The 1-2 pitch. A little bit low, 2-2. Good eye on the part of Colashaw. Evan Opperman, the catcher, is on deck. Colashaw, a .276 hitter this year. No homers, 8 runs batted in. Number 9 could be on third base if he can get the ball in the air somewhere to the outfield. This is a breaking ball. Beautiful 12-6 breaking ball, but just a little bit low. My knees buckled from here on that one, Brian, and certainly Colashaw's did, and the count is full.
Yeah, you're not going to hit that.
Farinaro's pitch. Fastball, strike 3, right down the middle. And there are 2 down. This is going to be one of those rare innings in baseball, folks, where you can get 4 outs in an inning, but 3 are only going to be officially recorded. That strikeout counts in the books.
Well, how are you supposed to hit that fastball after the last breaking ball that you saw the pitch before?
Yeah, that was beautiful. Here is a swing and a miss by Evan Opperman, a .298 hitter this year, a homer, 8 runs batted in. That fastball, I was watching at Farinaro in warm-ups. He wasn't even really trying to deal it up there very fast, and there was a pop in Challoner's mitt that you could hear echoing throughout the field here. This one's going to be bounced towards third, a curveball that's going to go foul, and the count is 0-2. Head-Royce does not need many runs to support Farinaro, and you would think that that 3 spot they put up in the top of the inning might be enough. Valley Christian's answered with 1. 2 is 90 feet away. Here's the 0-2. In the air, foul. Boy, you have to have a quick bat. But then you talk about that breaking ball, Brian.
Yeah. Well, and you see why he's got close to 150 strikeouts against just 17 walks, but tough to hit when he's dealing like this.
This is going to be put towards the shortstop. Backhanded nicely. Long throw. Scoop by Peters. Good play by Peters on the throw from Horner. If he doesn't make that play, hustling down to first Opperman, he would have been safe. He made that a very close play, and another run would have scored. But instead, 1 run is in for Valley Christian. They do respond to Head-Royce, but the Jayhawks take a 3-1 lead into the top of the 2nd inning, where they will send up Farinaro, Ian Latucci, and Tynan Challenor. You're following the action from the North Coast section, Division 5, Fremont Christian High School, right on your destination, right here on your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Well, Stephen Farinaro has been everything that he was advertised to be as he strikes out make that 3 in the 1st inning. And he gets 4 outs on the 6-3 ground out. That's right. It was 2 strikeouts. He also had a sacrifice bunt worked in there as well. Gives up the 1 run, but no hits. But he does yield that 1 run, and now Valley Christian back out there, and they're going to see if they can hold Head-Royce down and keep him at just that 3 runs that they earned in the top of the 1st inning on a very clutch 0-2 2-out double clearing the bases by Michael Greenfield.
That was a huge blow to Valley Christian, and then Head-Royce getting out of that jam there in the bottom of the 1st. Nicely done, stranding that runner on third base.
So it'll be Farinaro, Latucci, and then back to the top of the order in Challener. As Dalrymple completes his warm-up pitches. Nice throw down, Opperman to second base, and we are ready to roll for inning number 2. We're covering 12 softball and baseball championships in the North Coast section this weekend, folks. We did 2 yesterday, 1 in baseball, 1 in softball. You can watch those games on playonsports.com. They are available on demand. We've got 10 games we're covering today, over 6 divisions in 2 days. As this pitch starts out, strike 1 on Farinaro, batting .224 this year with a homer and 5 runs batted in. Dalrymple, this ball in the air to shallow left. Schaefer is going to scoot in, call for it, and then have it go over his head, and he drops the ball. Farinaro on the error by the left fielder Schaefer. We do have a little bit of wind here at Fremont Christian. The wind blowing in from right and plays a little havoc with the baseball, but a runner aboard for Head-Royce to lead off the 2nd inning. And Ian Latucci, the designated hitter, is the batter, a .286 hitter this year. No homers, 10 runs batted in.
Well, you'll take base runners any way you can get them.
And Latucci showing bunt, pulls back. He takes ball 1. That was a situation there in that pop-up. The shortstop, Volpatti, was going back on it. At first it looked like it might be his play, and Schaefer came running up, and the ball just kept going back. Latucci is not going to show bunt there. This ball's outside, 2-0. So now Dalrymple.
It's got to be important here for Dalrymple to not let that compound here and continue to make his pitches, throw strikes, and not get too frustrated out there. He made a good pitch, got the fly out, and just couldn't have the play made behind him. So don't let these mistakes compound here if you're Valley Christian.
That's a strike, and the count's now 2-1. The wind's starting to pick up just a little bit, gusting at points. The 2-1. Swung on and missed, strike two. Pops out of the glove of Opperman behind the plate, but again, with that short backstop, Farinaro not going anywhere, and the count's even at 2-2. Already 2 strikeouts in the game by Dalrymple in that 3-run first inning. That's a breaking ball, fouled away.
Nice job staying alive, fouling that ball off. Really want to advance the runner here any way that you can. Try to get another runner into scoring position because these runs could be at a premium here this afternoon with a solid pitching matchup.
Latucci, just his 44th plate appearance this year. 10 hits and 10 runs batted in, so he's certainly been productive when he's put the ball in play. Here's a throw over to first, and no tag. Farinaro back in easily. 10 hits, 10 runs scored, 10 runs driven in. Very consistent, Mr. Latucci. He's going to put this ball in play towards center field. It's going to land for a base hit. Farinaro will hold at second base. Latucci, once again, good 2-strike hitting by a batter for the Jayhawks. And there's runners at first and second with nobody out here in the top of the second inning.
Yeah, real nice approach up there with two strikes, shortening that swing up a little bit and just going with the pitch. That's the second one that's gone into the center of the field, so doing a nice job just going with it and getting productive hits.
Tynan Challoner now the batter. He's going to take one high and away for ball one, and time is called by Evan Opperman, and that gives us a moment to point out that Tynan Challoner is one of those rare catchers who's batting first. In the order, you think catcher normally, and that's the heaviest guy on your team, or that's the guy who can really slug the ball and drive it deep, and Challoner instead showing a little bit of speed. And it reminds me very much of when Craig Biggio used to catch for the Houston Astros at the beginning of his career, and he would lead off as well and led the team in stolen bases. Challoner very similar in that respect, and except he's left-handed instead of the right-handed like Biggio was, but 14 stolen bases, second on the team this year, and batting leadoff today. He's going to take strike one, and the count is even at 1-1. Flew out to center field in his first at-bat, 0 for 1.
I believe that Jason Kendall used to do that for Pittsburgh as well.
That's right.
Leading off from the catcher's spot.
That is going to be low and in, and the count is 2-1 on Dalrymple, giving Challoner a hitter's count. It's always a little bit frustrating as a pitcher when you have an 0-2 and you give up a hit. And both of those were solid. That wasn't protect. Let's see if I can float it over the infielders' heads. This one is going to be high and away, 3-1. Those were both solid pieces of contact by Latucci and then Greenfield in the first inning.
Now you got a hitter's count here. We've seen what they can do with the 2-strike count. Now let's see what they can do with the hitter's count here.
3-1. Ball 4. And they're ducks on the pond. They're at every base right now for the Jayhawks. Bases loaded, nobody out. Nico Horner the batter. Horner doubled to right in his first at-bat. Right center. First hit of the game. And now head coach Aaron McNeil out to the mound to talk to Dalrymple, and the entire infield plus the backstop. Evan Opperman will join him for the conference. So bases loaded, nobody out. You got to think this is more of a defensive conversation. I'm thinking Valley Christian's going to play the infield in here.
Yeah, you've got to. Try to cut down that run at home, especially when you're going up against a pitcher on the other side like Farinaro.
Runs are going to be a precious commodity.
They sure are.
Against Farinaro. The batter, Horner. 1 for 1, a run scored, an extra base hit, a double in the first inning. Dalrymple's going to step off. He's going to work from the stretch. Wants Opperman to go through the signs again. At third is Farinaro. Latucci at second. Over at first, Challoner. The pitch. Curveball. Strike one.
And last time the bases were loaded, we saw Dalrymple go from the windup. Now he's going from the stretch, so it's probably something Coach McNeil saw with the runners out on.
That one is a little bit low, and the count is even 1-1. Well, sometimes you might go from the stretch with less than 2 outs and then see about going from the stretch with 2 outs, assuming that your runner at third base is not going to try to steal and make the last out of the inning at home plate. And also depends on the personnel out there as well. And I doubt Farinaro is going to make a break for home. Here's the 1-1. On the ground, it's going to get through. One run's going to score, maybe two. Here's the right fielder coming in. This one's going to be cut off. Everyone's going to move up 90 feet. Again, that short right field. Nice job by Will Cantrell bouncing on it right away. And it's a 4-0 ball game on the RBI single. So the RBI for Horner on the single to right, the second time he's gone that way. The bases are still loaded. The batter is Reed Gibbs, who singled, stole a base, and scored in the first inning. Head-Royce, a great start for the Jayhawks. Dalrymple to the plate. High. Good crowd on hand here at Fremont Christian High School. Not only have they packed the stands behind home plate, they've even got some stands down here in the left field area. This ball is skied in the air to the infield, foul territory. Dalrymple, the pitcher, calls for it and makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
That's a big out right there. Nobody advancing, nobody scoring. And you get it taken care of early in the count. Get a little bit of that confidence back.
Well, now with one down, your middle infield can go double play depth. And you've retired the number 3 hitter in the order. The 4 hitter, Matt Forster, struck out looking at his first at-bat. He's going to take ball 1 here. So 1 down, 1 run across, and Valley Christian's trying to keep this from being much worse. Here's a breaking ball. That's in there for a strike, 1-1. 4-1 is our score. I might have said 4-0 a moment ago, but Valley Christian did get 1 in the bottom of the first inning. So 4-1 our score. The 1-1 is way high, and the count is 2-1. Dalrymple struggling with his control just a little bit.
But it was encouraging to see that curveball in there for strike 1. A second ago, he had struggled with the location on that curve earlier in the game.
The 2-1 pitch. Fouled away, and the count is 2-2. C.J. Novogradic on deck. The runner at third is Latucci. Challoner at second. Horner at first after that RBI single. The 2-2. Breaking ball, fouled away. Nice bit of off-speed. Dalrymple and Opperman, pretty much every other pitch are alternating fastball, off-speed, fastball, off-speed, and the off-speed has some break on it. You make quite a career doing that, Brian.
Yeah, sure can.
You don't have to be the fastest pitcher in the world, but if you can have the big variation in speed, the whole point is to keep the hitter off balance. Dalrymple. This was outside in the dirt. And a nice job by Opperman smothering that ball.
Well, you got nowhere to put him now. This is a fastball count with the bases loaded.
And the count full. 1 down in the inning. Fouled away. Nice job by Forster maintaining contact on some of these pitches. That one, it looked like he was just trying to get a piece of that ball. Kind of reaching for a fastball, and maybe he was thinking he was going to see another breaking ball, but boy, on 3-2, that would be a lot of confidence that Opperman would have in Dalrymple's curve. The 3-2. There's a breaking ball, and it's going to be down the left field line, fair. Tracking it down in the corner is Schaefer. 1 runner in, 2 runners in. Here comes the other runner to the plate. They may have him. The throw out at home. Down to third goes Forster. He drives in 2. Nice job, Schaefer, getting the ball into the relay. And cut down at the plate is Horner. But 2 more runs are in. 7-5-2 on that put out at home for the second out of the inning. But Latucci will score. So will Challoner. And another 2-strike hit for Head-Royce. And this first pitch to Novogradac is high, ball 1. So 2 runs batted in on the double to left by Forster, and he's down at third base. Novogradac walked and came around to score in the first inning. He's going to take high for ball 2. So 3 runs in the first for Head-Royce. Right now 3 runs in the second. They lead it 6-1. This one is low. It actually gets by Opperman, but will bounce right out in front of home plate, and Forster's going to stay put. So Novogradac with a 3-0 count. And Brian, I can't expect that we're going to see him swing at all. He might want to take for 2 here.
Yeah, and that's probably the call that the Jayhawks and Mike Talbs are going to make.
That's right down the middle, and taking all the way is Novogradac for strike 1. Dalrymple better be careful. He almost didn't come set there, Brian, and if he doesn't, the umpires can call a balk, and there's certainly a lot more looking today. 4 umpires as opposed to your normal 2 for a regular season game. The 3-1 is going to be hit towards center field, a base hit. That's going to score a runner. Picked up easily on the ground by Navarro, but the single drives in a run, Novogradac, and that is the 7th run of the game for Head-Royce. And the middle of the lineup is really making a contribution right now for the Jayhawks.
They've been solid, and the approach at the plate has been the most impressive thing. Going with pitches, driving balls to the center of the field. And that's when you know you've really got it dialed in, when you're hitting the ball right back up the middle.
And Dalrymple is going to be replaced. Looks like we have a new pitcher. It's going to be Kolashaw. So Kolashaw is now into the game, the left-hander. Kolashaw, the starting first baseman, he will go to the mound, and Dalrymple will go over to first. So a tough outing for Dalrymple as Kolashaw will come in. And again, Dalrymple over to first base. So we'll get that all in our scorecards, folks. Dalrymple 1 and 2/3 innings. He's responsible for the runner at first base. So far 7 runs, but could be 8 if Novogradac is able to come around and score with 2 down in the inning. And we'll give you some information on the left-handed throwing Kolashaw, who has come into the ball game and will be making his 12th appearance of the year. He started 8 games, a record of 3-4 with a 3.55 earned run average. 45 1/3 innings, the second most on the team behind Dalrymple's 69 this year. Kolashaw, 57 strikeouts, 29 walks, 41 hits in those 45 1/3 innings. So allowing just a little bit less than a hit an inning. And he's going to be facing Michael Greenfield, who had the big 2-out double to drive in 3 on an 0-2 pitch in the first. And in a 7-1 ball game in the top of the second inning, he's got a runner over at first, and again, 2 down. Kolashaw from the stretch, the left-hander's first pitch is in the dirt, ball 1. In the dirt.
Stop.
Yeah, really.
In the dirt is a relative term here.
Yeah, it's a metaphor. It's more like in the field turf, which is a little bit rubber and some fake grass. This one's going to be low and away for ball 2.
Which makes it even more important for the catcher to get his body down there and not just try to pick it with the glove, because it can take some interesting skids.
This one's going to be fouled away right back behind home plate. The count is 2 balls and a strike. Yeah, you can see on some of the outfielders, the ball skips. So you got to get to that ball quickly. On the double that was hit by Forster down into the corner, Schaefer did a great job hustling over there to slow that ball down, but that ball had some quick pickup on it and got down the line in a hurry. And you can see on Forster's double as well, that had a great hook. It curved and just got inside the third base line. Here's the 2-1 in the dirt. Opperman, nice job ranging to his left to stop that one like an NHL goalie, and the count's 3-1. So top of the second inning, 4 runs across for Head-Royce. This is going to be swung on and missed, and the count goes full with 2 down. So in motion will be Novogradac.
It's a real nice pitch by Kolashaw there. The bottom just dropped out of that slider.
That's low and in, ball 4. So Greenfield is aboard with a walk. Novogradac goes down to second base, and the batter is Ian Peters. Peters is the only player in the lineup right now who has not gotten on base. He struck out looking for the third out of the first inning, looked at 3 pitches from Dalrymple, all breaking balls. So the book, I think, on Peters is make sure it's got a bend to it. Otherwise, a fastball could be parked, and he's hit 4 home runs this year. That one's in the dirt, ball 1. At 6'7", a big strike zone. And Kolashaw was trying to work low, but that would have been low on my T-baller. That was right there at the ankles. This one is going to be low again, and the count's 2-0.
Nice patience at the plate by the big fella.
Head-Royce is batted around. This is the 9th hitter in the inning for the Jayhawks. That is in the air, high, towards right, playable, and it's going to be caught for the third out by Will Cantrell. So the side is finally retired. Nice job by Kolashaw working out of it, but not before 4 runs are across, and the score is 7-1 as Valley Christian coming up in the bottom of the second inning trailing Head-Royce, and we will close the book on Dalrymple, who gives up 7 runs, all earned, 7 hits. He strikes out 2, walks 1, and then in relief, Kolashaw, after giving up a walk, induces the flyout from Peters to end the inning. And for Valley Christian, they're going to send up Will Cantrell, Matt Rooney, and Hunter Schaefer, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters in the order for the Vikings. So a great start for Head-Royce, Brian.
Yeah, fantastic start. They've got the right guy on the mound here, and Farinaro, he was happy to have a 3-run lead to go into the bottom of the first, and now you come into the bottom of the second, you've got him a 6-run lead, and he's got to just be licking his chops. He can go right after these hitters. No need to mess around here and walk anybody. The last guy started the inning off with a hit by pitch who came around to score after moving all the way around the base path. So just throw strikes here, make them put it in play, and if they're going to beat you, they've got to do it with their bats.
Well, Head-Royce has been a very successful baseball program over their school's history. The school's 125th year in existence. It started out as a girls' school in 1887. And as Coach Mike Talps was quick to point out, I've been here a long time, but not that long. 32 years, 29 leading the Jayhawks as his first pitch is high to Cantrell for ball 1. 5 straight years in the title game. They've won 2 of the last 4. They're the defending champions. They've been here a number of times in Coach Talb's history. The count now 2-0. This has been a very, very good baseball team for a long time. Cantrell batting .370 this year. No homers, 19 runs batted in. The left-hander with a hitter's count on 2-0. Breaking ball, that's a strike, 2-1.
Well, that's a pretty nice resume that Head-Royce comes into this one with. And they've got a pretty solid kid on the mound right now, so things going well for the Jayhawks.
That's a swing and a miss, strike 2, and the count is even at 2-2. You know, the one tough part for Valley Christian is they are great at manufacturing runs, but because they're down by so much, it's going to be very difficult against an outstanding pitcher to scratch out hits and runs. This ball is low, and the count is 3-2. I mean, that works really well in a tight ball game. You're down 2, maybe even 3 early in the innings, but they're going to have to put a lot of hits together, and just Farinaro doesn't give up too many of those. This one's going to be bounced towards the second baseman on the second hop. Quick toss over, and retired is Cantrell. 4-3 on the putout, Gibbs to Peters. And there's 1 down in the inning. And again, you can hear that wind picking up, blowing in from right field. Matt Rooney now the batter. Rooney batting $175 this year. No homers, 4 runs batted in. The starting second baseman for Valley Christian today. Farinaro, quick stretch of the left quad, his landing leg. We'll keep an eye on that, see if it's bugging him or if he's just limbering up a little bit after a long inning. A bunt in the air, and it's going to be caught by the third baseman. Charging hard was Matt Forster, and he gloves it for the second out.
Well, it took 6 pitches to retire the first batter and a bunt pop out on the first pitch to the second batter of the inning, and Farinaro's got a chance to have a pretty easy frame here.
Well, Matt Rooney getting the start as a freshman, as here's Schaefer fouling off the first pitch, 0-1. Not a bad idea, but the reason you pop up a bunt is when you drop the bat head lower than your hands, and at least in his case, his left hand, as Schaefer is going to be hit by a pitch. That's the second hit batter by Farinaro in the game. He led off the game by hitting Volpatti, and those are not very, those are painful. Let's just put it that
absolutely.
way. I was trying to look for the antonym for painful. I couldn't come up with one because I was just feeling it for Volpatti and also for Schaefer, who got hit there.
Yeah, that does not feel good, especially up there in the middle of your back, but shaking it off nicely and getting on down to first, trying to move up a couple bases here.
The designated hitter, Adam Machowski, up. He's going to swing and foul one off. Machowski, the designated hitter, batting .245, a sophomore. No homers, just 1 run batted in, 2 outs in the inning. Schaefer on at first after the hit batter. Brian Farinaro came in with just 3 hit batters all year. He's hit 2 today.
2 in just under 2 innings here as well.
So rare wildness on the part of Farinaro, who has struck out 2 so far and walked none. Here's the pitch. Oh, that is a beautiful breaking ball that went. And here's the throw to second base, and it's going into center field as that ball got away from the catcher, Challoner. So down to second, Schaefer. He's in scoring position, but Michnowski looking at an 0-2 count. He swung at a curveball that broke 58 feet of the 60. He tried to check his swing, but that was just a beautiful pitch.
That was very nice. And a nice job backing up in center field there for Michael Greenfield, keeping the runner at second base.
That's a curveball, strike 3, gets away from the catcher. Challoner fumbling the ball all over the place, finally throws down to first and gets Michnowski on the throw to Peters. That ball got away from Challoner, then he picked it up and was about to throw it. The ball popped out of his hand. He had to grab it again. It's like there was butter on that thing. That completes the second inning of play. A strikeout ends that inning, the third of the game for Farinaro. We've completed 2 from Fremont Christian High School, the Division 5 championship game, and your score is Head-Royce 7 and Valley Christian 1 with the third inning coming up.
Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Brian Vilvin, Andrea Palladino providing all the video for you today, folks. We are live from left field here at Fremont Christian High School. And we are ready for the top of the third inning as the number 1 and 2 seeds facing off today. Valley Christian winning 2 of the 3 meetings earlier in the year, but the one they lost was to Stephen Farinaro, who is throwing well right now. 3 strikeouts, has yet to yield a hit, a couple of base runners, 1 run in, but leading 7-1. It'll be Farinaro leading off to begin the third against Colashaw. This one is going to be launched into the air right field line, and fair ball into the corner. Valley Christian was chasing that one like it was going foul, and Farinaro is going to end up at second base. Boy, I thought from the body language that this ball was going to drift foul, but the wind's blowing in from right and might have pushed that back into fair territory, but that just points to you run hard after everything. And Farinaro once again aboard. He reached on an error in his first at-bat, now doubling here in his second.
Yeah, that's the second time Farinaro has hit the ball into the air for what Valley Christian would probably think they should make the catch on both of those plays, and he finds himself on the base path. Put it in play and see what happens.
Ian Latucci, the batter. He singled in his first at-bat. Opperman smothers that one, ball 1. Farinaro led off last inning as Head-Royce batted around in the second. The 1-0. Strike one. I'd like to thank our home plate umpire, Gary Kirshner, for making a very emphatic strike call so you can tell what it is from out here in left field, folks. I even asked him, I said, make sure you do that for us. We're way deep out here. He said, I'll see what I can do. This is swung on and missed. Strike two. Nice pitch by Kolashaw, and the count is 1-2 on Latucci. On deck is Tynan Challenor, the leadoff hitter, who will be up for his third time in as many innings. Latucci with a runner at second, a runner in scoring position. And he's going to take strike three looking. Nice job by Kolashaw for the first out. And the batter is Challenor. Challenor walked in his last at-bat in the second, came around to score. He also flew out to center in the first, 0 for 1. Popped foul. It's going to hit the netting right above home plate. You wonder how many outs that saves over the course of a year for Fremont Christian when they're playing their home games here. It's that net, if they allow that to go, that might be a play for the third baseman, Josh Stevens. Instead, just a strike. The 0-1 swung on a miss for strike two. But Kolashaw is getting some good break on his pitches as well right now, Brian.
Yeah, he is, and he's mixing up the tempo nicely. Got a lot of break on that big curveball.
This one's in the dirt. Farinaro will stay put. Count is 1-2 strikes on Challenor. Nico Horner to follow.
These pitchers are they're making the catchers work.
They are.
Those kids are going to be bruised and battered by the end of this one.
Well, they call it the tools of ignorance behind home plate. This one's fouled away. And sometimes it's best to be young and able to bounce back quickly. What was the phrase? I don't know if it was Yogi Berra, but he said when two catchers shake hands, it takes about an hour and a half to untangle their fingers. Because everybody from taking so many foul tips over the years, everything gets a wee bit crooked. 1-2 strikes on Challenor. That's in the dirt, and the count evens at 2-2.
Good eye. Nice take on that one. Saw him out in front. He wanted to take a swing, but nice job of living to see another pitch here. We know these kids for Head-Royce can hit with 2 outs.
And this is going to hit Challenor. He's going to get hit instead of getting a hit. So he's on again, and that is definitely a pitch that Kolashaw wasn't intending with a 2-strike count. But now runners at first and second, so Challenor has reached base. That's the third batter that's been plunked in this game. Now 1 by Valley Christian, 2 by Head-Royce, and we're going to have a courtesy runner for Farinaro as coming in to run at second base is going to be Gavin Latucci, who's the younger brother of Ian Latucci. Ian is a senior, and Gavin is a freshman. So Latucci is on to run for Farinaro. The batter is Nico Horner, who doubled and scored in the first, then singled in a run in the second. 2 for 2 with an RBI. He was cut down at home trying to score from first on a double by Matt Forster last inning. He takes strike one. 1 down.
Nice fastball there right down the middle to get back on track here.
That's a breaking ball. It's going to be low. And the count is 1-1. Schaefer playing deep. There's a short warning track here. It's about 290 to right. He's in about 275. This is a swinging strike as Nico Horner unable to check his swing, and the count is 1-2 strikes. We're in the top of the third inning. 7-1, Head-Royce, and they've got a runner in scoring position. Kolashaw trying to work his way out of this. That's going to be bounced toward third, and this could be a double play, and it is. Nice job by the third baseman, Stevens, and that ends the top half of the third. So Horner on a one-hopper to third is retired on the double play, as is Latucci coming to third base. And we move to the bottom of the third inning, where Valley Christian will be back at the top of the order. It'll be Volpatti, Stevens, and Dalrymple. Brian, your impressions so far, we'll keep it right here on PlayOnSports.com through 2.5. Nice job by Valley Christian keeping the Jayhawks off the scoreboard here in the top of the third inning.
Yeah, it's been a very impressive performance so far by Head-Royce, and I've been mostly impressed with the approach at the plate, going with pitches, hitting balls back up the middle, and their ability to hit with 2 strikes. That's something that's really difficult to do, especially in a championship atmosphere like this. And when you got Farinaro up on the hill, I like to just see him continue to pound the strike zone and get ahead of hitters and, see if he can't make quick work of the Valley Christian lineup.
3 strikeouts for Farinaro. He's hit 2 batters. Stevens reached on an error by Farinaro, who bounced a pitch for strike 3 to Challoner. And that allowed Stevens to get on first base on the swinging strike. First base was open because Vince Volpatti had been hit with a pitch, stole second, stole third. And he has scored the only run, and that came later on in the inning when Stevens went to steal second and drew a throw, and Volpatti managed to scamper home and score. So that is your 1 run for Valley Christian, and Volpatti back up there. A very painful first at-bat, but one that resulted in a run. He got hit by a pitch right in that left shoulder to begin the game. I think that was the first pitch that Farinaro threw. So Volpatti has seen 1 Farinaro pitch, and it's left a mark, I'm sure, on his left shoulder. Here's this one. It's going to be high, ball 1. So Volpatti, a couple of stolen bases, a run scored, and he's been hit by a pitch. That's going to be fouled away behind home plate, and the count is even at 1-1. When you're facing a pitcher like Farinaro, who has such a great pedigree, going to UCLA next year, likely be drafted in the amateur draft here this month for Major League Baseball, an ERA under 1, 148 Ks coming in, now at 151, just 17 walks. As this pitch is going to be hit into the hole, and it's going to get through for a single. You just can't get intimidated by him. You can't. As here's a throw over to first. Peters is going to have it bounce away from him, but again, a short fence behind at first base. So our first hit of the game, Volpatti, a single to left. Nice job. You can't allow yourself to get intimidated by his reputation. Oftentimes pitchers, it's worth a couple of outs just when a Roger Clemens would go out to the mound because guys would get intimidated. But you can't allow yourself that to happen, especially when you're down by 6. Here's a throw over. Volpatti dives back in.
Yeah, you don't want to get inside your own head before the game has even begun.
Giving up at-bats before you even get to the plate. Volpatti a threat to run. He's already stolen 2 bags. We'll see if he goes. He is not, and this one is going to be low, ball 1. So Farinaro, now it gets into a really interesting cat and mouse game here because Farinaro trying to hold the ball a little bit longer to throw off Volpatti so he can't time him, but that could throw off Farinaro's timing. So it definitely benefits the hitter here, Stevens. Here's a throw over to first. Volpatti is back in. And he's got another step or 2 over at first base if he wants it.
Yeah, Vince Volpatti's doing a real nice job, having himself a nice game. And he's obviously in the head of Farinaro. Farinaro's having to think about him over there at first.
The 1-0. That is going to be fouled, and the count is 1-1. Stevens struck out, but then because the ball was in the dirt, managed to beat the throw to first base. And so he was stranded at third, but managed to, while he was trying to steal second, here's a throw over. Volpatti dives in just under the tag of Peters. Tried to draw a throw when he was stealing second, and Volpatti was at third, managed to get enough attention from Head-Royce that Volpatti was able to score. So Valley Christian was able to push a run across without putting a ball in play in that inning. And that was the first. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on a missed strike 2. Here's the steal attempt, the throw down, and Volpatti is out. Nice throw by Challoner. Looked like Volpatti didn't get a great jump. And there is one down. It looked like he got a late jump, actually. I didn't think he was running on that play.
It might have been a hit and run there, Jeff. It was a swing at a pretty high ball for strike 2. And Volpatti was dead to rights down there at second base. He might have had something on there in the 1-1 count.
And now the count's 1-2 on Stevens. And he swings and misses for strike 3. It's almost a situation where you've got a really good strikeout pitcher like Farinaro, and it's difficult to put the ball in play against him. Though Steven's a good hitter, batting .446 coming into today. But maybe you just let Volpatti have the straight steal. Then sacrifice him to third, and then with one down, see if you can get the run across with Kolashaw or Opperman. As here's a pitch that's low to Dalrymple, who had a sacrifice bunt that pushed Stevens to third in the first inning.
Well, now you go from a runner on and nobody out to nobody on, 2 outs, and a dominant pitcher on the mound.
Count now 2-0. So 2 balls and no strikes on Dalrymple. And that is low, 3-0. So Farinaro walking a batter has been almost as rare as him allowing a hit, and he's already allowed a hit or hitting somebody. I mean, if you look at it, 26 hits, 17 walks, 3 hit batters. That is ball 4. So a runner aboard with 2 down. That's 46 base runners this year in 70 innings.
That is a pretty solid number right there, less than a runner an inning.
Well, his strikeout to walk ratio is 8-1 coming in. Right now he's at 4-1. Here's the pitch to Kolashaw, who struck out looking in his first at-bat, and he takes low.
Well, now we've got 5 straight balls thrown by Farinaro.
Dalrymple dives back in. 5 guys on this Valley Christian team, double figures with stolen bases. Dalrymple is one of them, second on the team with 18 in 22 attempts. That pitch is going to be hit to the first baseman, Peters. He's got it himself unassisted. That ends the inning. So the ground out completes it. A runner is stranded. We've completed 3. Head-Royce leading as we go to the top of the 4th inning. 7-1 in this Division 5 championship game on your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com. We're live from Fremont Christian High School in the North Coast section.
It's the last day of events here in the North Coast section, but you can relive all the great games we've covered in the 2012-2013 season by going to our on-demand page. Catch all the great highlights from this high school sports season right here on your destination for high school sports in the North Coast section, playonsports.com.
Folks, not only in the North Coast section, but across the state of California, or around the state of California, from one end to the other. We have had games all spring, and it's been quite a spring. Just games I've covered alone, back-to-back. One in the Sac Joaquin section, one in the Central section. I covered 2 softball games. It had walk-off singles for wins by the home team. Called a triple play last week in the Central Coast section baseball championships in San Jose. We had a no-hitter at the Sac Joaquin section baseball championships last Monday on Memorial Day. So, folks, not only can you check out all the action for the North Coast section, being a North Coast section fan, you can get a lot of those highlights off of YouTube on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/playonnetwork. Some other great games from around the state of California and around the country. You never know what you're going to get with high school sports. We had a Wichita pickoff the other day, folks, in Mississippi. You want to know what a Wichita pickoff is? It's where the catcher tries to pick the guy, or the pitcher tries to pick the guy off at second base. Here's the first pitch. It's going to be hit towards the hole, picked up by the shortstop. Quick throw over and retired is Reed Gibbs, the first batter of the inning. 6-3 on the putout. Forster and Novogradac to follow. Nice play by Volpatti. Wichita pickoff, the pitcher wheels and throws to second. But I say that in air quotes. It's a fake throw, but the shortstop will dive, making it seem like the ball gets away from him. The center fielder will start running to get the imaginary baseball. The runner thinks, maybe the ball's in the outfield. I'll go to third. The pitcher still has it. That happened in that particular game in the 6th inning. The runner at second represented the tying run. He was tagged out when the pitcher did throw to the second baseman for the tag. Count is 2-0 on Forster, who doubled in 2 in his last at-bat, came around to score. He's also struck out looking, and he's got a 3-0 count.
That's the thing. You never know what you're going to see, Jeff.
Especially at the high school level. You had a pretty interesting triple play yourself
about a week ago.
That's right, in San Jose. This pitch is ball 4. So Forster is aboard. That's right, bases loaded. 6th inning, tie ball game, nobody out, infield in, a soft line drive to the second baseman. And the runners weren't sure for St. Ignatius playing against Willow Glen if it was a catch or a trap. Here's the pitch to our next hitter. This is Novogradac, who's driven in a run with a single last inning. Also walked and scored in the first. So the umpire called it a trap, but here's a throw over to first base, and it's going to get away from the first baseman, Dalrymple, and down to second base goes Forster. So a runner in scoring position and 2 outs for Head-Royce. And a great opportunity for Novogradac. So the umpire called a trap, but St. Ignatius wasn't sure, so they threw home for 1. They threw to first for 2. The runner at second strayed away. They threw to second base and got him in a pickle and tagged him out at third. But on top of that, if they'd ruled it a catch, that's 1 out. They threw home. They threw to first. They would have doubled the runner off at first. That's 2 outs. They threw to second. They would have doubled the runner off there. 3, and then they threw to third base. They tagged that runner, and they were standing on third base. It would have been 4 outs that way. So either way, they would have ended up with somewhere between 3 to 7 outs with Willow Glen, and they ended up winning that game in 13 innings, 4-3, or excuse me, 11 innings, 4-3. That's a foul ball at the plate for Novogradac. Forster on at second. 1 down. We're in the top of the 4th inning in this game, and a lot of baseball still to be played. But right now, Head-Royce dominating in this D5 championship. That's a strike on the outside corner. Reed Gibbs led off the inning by grounding out. Forster walked and then advanced to second on an errant pickoff throw. Here's a foul tip by Novogradac by the pitcher, Kolashaw, who's on in relief of Dalrymple, who started the game and is now over at first base. Outfield deep in center. Short corners here at Fremont Christian. This ball is going to be bounced toward the shortstop. They're going to throw over to first. Volpatti is going to get Novogradac. Advancing to third is Forster. Volpatti thought for a moment about going to third, but then made the wise play by going to first for the second out of the inning. And the batter is Michael Greenfield. Greenfield, a double and 3 runs batted in the first inning, walked in the second. 1 for 1. A chance for another RBI over at third base. He's going to take strike 1.
Jeff, I've been really impressed by Volpatti. Vince Volpatti, his fielding, he's made 2 great plays this inning. Been on base both times with a hit by pitch and a base hit and scored a run. So a pretty solid game all around for the junior Vince Volpatti.
Yeah, in 72 innings, now 73 on the year for Farinaro, and that was only his 27th hit given up. Here's a line drive right to the third baseman, Josh Stevens, with a grab, and that completes the inning on the lineout. Nice job by Valley Christian, a relatively quiet inning for the Vikings defensively. We're at the midpoint of this ball game, folks. Valley Christian trailing 7-1. They've got Evan Opperman, Will Cantrell, and Matt Rooney coming up. We'll keep it right here on PlayOnSports.com. Brian, go back to your point. Volpatti, just a junior, but he's doing a little bit of everything for the Vikings and seeing if he can help them at least get back into the game or at least stay even with this current score with some good defensive plays in the 4th inning.
Well, yeah, and sometimes when you're watching a baseball game or any game for that matter, you start to hear names over and over and see people making positive contributions. Seems like every time they either touch the ball or, have an at-bat if it's baseball. And every single time we've mentioned Vince Volpatti's name, it's been in a positive light. And that's something that the rest of this Vikings team can see, maybe jump on his back, even though he's just a junior, and see if they can't get something going. And if Vince can have success, why can't everybody else? And that's the mindset you've got to have. And they're in this game, a 6-run game, and they've scored a lot of runs this season. It's definitely not out of the realm, and they've got a number of innings left to do it.
Well, Farinaro has not yielded much so far. He's struck out 4. He's hit a couple of batters, walked 1, given up a hit. Just 1 run allowed through 3. There is an innings limit at the high school level. And it seems to be pretty universal as we've covered games now in the Central section, the Sac Joaquin, the North Coast, the Central Coast. 10 innings a week. Farinaro had 9 coming in that he had left available for him to pitch. So he can go the full 7 here, and he's already completed 5 games this year. Opperman, Cantrell, Rooney, the scheduled hitters for the Vikings in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Opperman bounced to short in the first. 0 for 1. This one is going to be fouled away.
Yeah, Jeff, I think you're right about that little netting that comes down over the batter. Some of those balls, that one might have gotten away, but a few of them, at least the catcher would have a chance to make a play and get a put out.
That pitch is in there for a strike, and the count is quickly 0-2. Boy, Challoner back there, you'd think, well, Farinaro is such a dominating pitcher, easy to catch, but you got a fastball that blazes in there and a breaking ball that goes 12-6. This one's going to be bounced to the right-hand side. The second baseman up with it. Nice throw over. Reed Gibbs to Peters, retires Opperman, who tried to slide headfirst into first base but didn't get there in time, and there's one down in the inning.
Ouch.
It's not easy. Yeah, you're mentioning ouch on
surface.
that surface. No. But for the catcher, it's not easy catching Farinaro. His pitches come in quickly. This one is going to be swung on and fouled away by Cantrell, who bounced to second base in his first at-bat. A .370 hitter this year. One of 4 guys in the lineup over 300, the others being Dalrymple at .359, Stevens .446, and Volpatti .476 coming into the game. That is a ball high, and the count is 1-1 on Cantrell. That one is low, 2-1. Farinaro's pitch. That's going to be fouled away, and the count is 2-2.
Got a little chatter coming from the Viking bench over there, trying to get a little rally started here.
Well, trying to get something rolling.
Yep.
They got to scrap out some runs, trailing by 6 in the 4th. And against a pitcher who's very tough to score against. That one is going to be high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Full count here to the
full count, I should say.
Second hitter of the inning.
That one is going to be backhanded. The throw to first, and what a play by Reed Gibbs. That has got Web Gem written all over it. Goes to his backhand side, makes the play, throws from his right knee to first base, and it helps to have a big target over there in Ian Peters, who goes up, grabs the ball at 6'7", and then comes down on the bag to retire Cantrell. And the batter is Rooney, who takes strike 1. Rooney popped to third in his first at-bat. He was bunting and left the ball up in the air, and it was grabbed by the third baseman, Forster. That is a check swing, and did he hold up? That's a strike. Good call. And nice job by our home plate umpire, Gary Kirshner, checking with first base umpire Mike Coleman. And Rooney did go around, so there are 2 strikes on Rooney. That's a breaking ball low. Rooney, a freshman, is getting a taste of varsity baseball right here at its highest level in pitcher Stephen Farinaro. The 1-2 in the dirt, 2-2.
Well, Jeff, the most impressive thing about what Reed Gibbs just did was keeping his composure and realizing that he had a lot of time. He's a second baseman. You know, he's not at third base or shortstop deep in the hole and has to make an entire, length of the field throw, and kept his composure there, knew he had a little bit of time, and put the ball in a place where, your big 6'7" first baseman can go up the top and get it and still get the put out. So very impressive stuff.
Rooney's worked his way back from 0-2 to 3-2. And he draws a walk. Matt Rooney had an 0-2 count, and he takes 4 and ends up at first base. In an event that's been really rare this year for Farinaro. Only his 19th walk given up all season, folks. And keep in mind, that's against 152 strikeouts. The batter is Hunter Schaefer, who was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. And he's going to take a ball.
5 straight balls.
So I think Farinaro would probably say, well, so far, I might be up by 6, but this would not be my best game, I would say. But he's going up against a tough-hitting team in Valley Christian. This is low and in. The count's 2-0. And Coach Taubes may be heading out to the mound here to talk things over with Farinaro. It's interesting, Brian, because Farinaro was cruising along this inning. He had a solid play by Gibbs for the first out, then a great play by Gibbs on a backhand for the second out. Then he had the freshman, Rooney, in an 0-2 hole, and he threw almost like he tried to get too fine.
Yeah.
And have pinpoint accuracy, and that's where you could just overpower a hitter with an 0-2 pitch. And now that's carried over into Hunter Schaefer, who's got a 2-0 count in his favor, with Adam Mishnowski, the designated hitter, on deck.
Yeah, you don't want to be too pretty with it, too fine. Just throw to that catcher's mitt.
That ball is high.
7 straight wide ones. Very uncharacteristic out of Farinaro.
So struggling with his arm slot and control right now is Farinaro. And that's a strike. Schaefer thought he had ball 4. Almost looked like Farinaro. I couldn't tell there versus some of the other pitches, but that one he set quickly and came to the plate quickly. So the runner goes, and it's going to be fouled. So now the count is full, and Rooney will be going again. That time he had a steal opportunity. This time he's just going to be in motion. It's either going to be a walk, the ball's going to be put in play, or Schaefer's going to be striking out. There goes the runner, the pitch. Swung on and missed. Foul tip into the glove. Strike 3. Nice job hanging on to that one. And that will end the 4th inning. So Farinaro deals with a little bit of difficulty, but works his way out of it. We move to the top of the 5th. The score is Head-Royce 7 and Valley Christian 1 in this Division 5 championship game. We're live from the North Coast section here in the Bay Area in California.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Well, tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Ian Peters, Steve Farinaro, and Ian Latucci are the scheduled hitters for Head-Royce as we go to the 5th inning. We'd be remiss if we didn't tell you that Mike Taubes is your first base coach and Mike Bouch is your third base coach. The pitcher for Head-Royce is Dave Rapson. That is the rest of the staff for the Jayhawks. The defending champions, 7-3 in league this year. Valley Christian also 7-3, but on the tiebreaker. And a game they play to determine who wins the league and gets the higher seed in the playoffs. Valley Christian won that ball game. Steve Farinaro did not pitch in that one. He only pitched in their first meeting, and he won that game, as he has this year many times. Just one loss in 12 decisions. Ian Peters, the batter, the lone representative for this Head-Royce team who has yet to reach base, and you know he'd love to end that right here. Struck out looking in the first, flew out to right in the second. He's 0 for 2. And a breaking ball, just a little bit outside ball 1.
Jeff, you got to be impressed with the game that Jake Kalashaw is having on the mound for Valley Christian. Kalashaw has been dealing since he's come into the game to replace Dalrymple, and he's keeping them alive in this game.
He is. His goal right now, keep him at 7. Which is what Head-Royce has up on the board, the 1-1 pitch. That is high and foul. Peters was initially looking out towards us in left field. Then he was looking straight up. He didn't miss that one by much, and it is a short porch out here in left. In the dirt, 2-2.
Well, Jeff, is that something as a hitter that you have to be cognizant of, that it's the short porch like that, or guys maybe trying to overswing because they think, oh, I can get a home run here. It's only 290 to left or 295 to right, and I want to trot around those bases, maybe overswing a little bit.
This one is going to be fouled away at the plate. The count evens at 2-2. Yeah, you have a tendency to want to do that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a home run hitter. Sometimes even if you're not a home run hitter, you think, my opportunity. But there's a 30-foot high fence here, so it's going to be tough to get it over that. But you could certainly get it against it. But that has messed up many a hitter who's played in Boston. The Green Monster's right on top of you. Try to hit that thing all the time. You end up overswinging and striking out, and there Peters is going to get caught looking for the second time in the game. So the leadoff batter is retired. That is the second strikeout for Colashaw. And the batter will be Steve Farinaro, who doubled to right in his last at-bat. He also reached on an error and scored in the second inning, 1 for 2. That double was hit to right field, and Dalrymple, Matt Rooney, Will Cantrell all thought it was going to be foul. He was a swinging and a fouled away pitch behind home plate for strike 1. So they were kind of jogging after the ball, and then it landed fair. And suddenly everyone was on their horse trying to get to it. And Farinaro ended up at second base. The 0-1.
It was a very interesting play.
This ball is low, 1-1.
And I'm not sure if they didn't realize that they had as much room, because the fence really is right on the field on both sides. There's about, 10 feet of foul territory both in right field and left field, so it's got to be tough on the right and left fielders knowing how much space they've got before they're going to crash into that wall.
2 balls and 2 strikes on the swing by Farinaro. We're in the top of the 5th inning. 3 runs in the top of the first. This ball's high, and the count goes full. 3 runs in the top of the first for the Jayhawks. Valley Christian responds with 1. 4 in the top of the second for Head-Royce. And it's been goose eggs for both teams ever since. 3-2, fouled away. Farinaro's got a pretty good swing. Only batting .224 this year, but he looks like he could rake if he really wants to. Actually, I'd say every hitter really wants to, but here's the pitch. This one's low, ball 4, and Farinaro's aboard again for the 3rd time in the game, this time on a walk. With 1 down, and we'll see if Gavin Latucci will come out as his designated runner or courtesy runner, or if he's going to stay at first. Right now, Farinaro is going to stay at first, and the batter is Ian Latucci. A single, a run scored, struck out looking in the 3rd. The senior puts one in the air, short right field, and nice job by Rooney, who stretches over his head and grabs that ball. Looked like it might be an easier play for Cantrell coming in from right, but Rooney wants it, and Rooney's got it for the second out of the inning.
That was a very nice play. Going backwards, first of all, just staying on your feet is impressive in that task, and making a nice grab.
The batter is Tynan Challoner. Rooney's got a lot of moxie out there at second. He worked an 0-2 count against Farinaro for a walk. Then he grabs that one. And just a freshman, folks. A nice, bright future for this young man at Valley Christian and for their baseball program. Challoner takes one outside.
Pretty solid middle of the diamond there.
Yeah. This is a
for
young,
the Vikings.
Yeah, young Valley Christian team, just 2 seniors. One of them, the catcher, Opperman, who just caught a strike on the pitch from Colashaw. The other is Cantrell, the right fielder. Everyone else is a junior or lower. So often this can be a big learning experience in a championship game, but Valley Christian was here last year and was on the short end of the stick against this very same Jayhawk team. This is going to hit Challoner, And he is down to first base. So with 2 down in the inning on the hit batter, that's the second time Challoner's been hit, and both times by Kolashaw.
And I think that one might have gotten him on some bone, either the wrist or right in there where there's not a whole lot of protection.
Yeah, he's trying to run that one off, Brian.
Yeah, he's shaking it off like a tough kid that he is, but getting hit twice in your last 2 plate appearances make you think twice going up there the next time.
And he's the catcher as well, so.
He's been blocking balls in the dirt all day.
The batter now is Nico Horner, and Horner is going to take low. Horner, a double, a single, a run batted in, a run scored. He's grounded into a double play last inning, or excuse me, in the third inning, his last at bat. A third to first double play. This one is low. Opperman, nice stop. Boy, the catchers. I've been so impressed with the catchers I've seen this spring in multiple sections. Their ability to block baseballs, so important defensively. Even though you've got this short backstop today at Fremont Christian, both catchers have done a very good job in that area. This pitch is low. And with Reed Gibbs on deck, Horner is close to working his way onto first base and loading him up with 2 down. Kolashaw's in a bit of a pickle here. This pitch is going to be ball 4, high and away.
Never want to walk him loaded, Jeff.
No, 2 walks and a hit batter in the inning, and the batter will now be Reed Gibbs. He's the 3 hitter in the order. Singled, stole a bag, and scored in the first. Popped out in foul territory to Dalrymple, the pitcher, in the second, and then grounded to short in the fourth. So 1 for 3. And head coach Aaron McNeil out to the mound to talk things over with Kolashaw. Valley Christian has Evan Opperman they can throw out there as well, the catcher.
And with this inning, Head-Royce has a chance to potentially break this inning open. We got 2 outs, but bases loaded here. It is the 5th inning, so if they could get this to a 10-run lead, then they'd have a chance to win it in the bottom half of the inning.
This one is fouled back by Gibbs. The runner at third is Farinaro. The runner at second is Challoner. Over at first, Horner. Gibbs, the 0-1 pitch. This is hit towards third. Nice job ranging for it. Now you got to hustle that throw over to first, and just in time. Stevens looked at second first to see if he could get Horner on the shorter route, but instead gets it over to first base in time, and the side is retired. And the score remains 7-1 as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. Nice play by Josh Stevens at third.
Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
The bottom of the 5th inning. Adam Mishnowski, Vince Volpatti, Josh Stevens, your scheduled hitters for Valley Christian as they're down to their final 9 outs, and they trail Head-Royce 7-1. And they have been quiet offensively. Just 1 hit in the ball game. 5 strikeouts by Farinaro through 4. And we've got a new catcher for Head-Royce. Challoner no longer behind the plate. See if we can get an ID for you on this catcher, who I believe came on last inning. But given we're all the way out here in, I'd say, deep left field, which is about 315 feet from home plate, folks, we'll see if we can get that for you. Maybe on the throw down to second base. As Farinaro completes his warm-up tosses, and it's behooves Valley Christian. If they want to get back into this game, they need a couple of runs right here, Brian.
They definitely do. Got to get it started. You've got to have a good at-bat with your leadoff hitter here. Try to get on base any way that you can. And against Farinaro, I mean, maybe you try to bunt your way on or work a deep count, but you've got to do anything you can, scratch and claw to get base runners.
So the batter is Mishnowski. He struck out looking and then was retired at first base on the ball that bounced in the dirt. And he's going to pop this one in the air towards right and out of play. You know, one thing, if you're coming to the game today and you're parking close to that fence, buyer beware. Someone fouls that ball over the fence, and I hope you have a good auto insurance policy because you might have a dent or cracked glass. So far, we have been free of any auto impairments.
Jeff, you don't need to scare Andrea up there.
I know. Hopefully she didn't park close to the fence. We stayed well away, and I made sure there was a big SUV between us and the ballpark. So Mishnowski takes a ball. The count's 1-1. That one is going to be driven towards second base. It's been an active day for Gibbs. He throws over and makes the play. Well, when you've got a pitcher who throws as quickly as Farinaro does, you're going to see a lot of balls hit the opposite way. And for Gibbs, that is his fourth putout of the ballgame.
Well, Jeff, Reed Gibbs made that play look incredibly easy, but that is not an easy play to make at all for a second baseman going across your body and have to come back toward first.
Volpatti, the batter, he's been hit by a pitch, scored a run in the first inning, stole a couple of bases. Then he singled and was thrown out on a hit and run in the third. He's the lone hit of the game for Valley Christian. The pitch is high. And, you know, between Volpatti and Farinaro, you can see that, okay, this is our best pitcher against their best hitter. And Farinaro looks like he's rearing back a little bit more for some extra giddy up on the fastball. And Volpatti looks like he's locked in at the plate.
This is what it's all about right here. These are the fun matchups. But all Volpatti does is get on base. So we'll see what Farinaro can do to halt that here.
That pitch is in the dirt. Novogradic right now is your catcher. Ben Hoxie has moved to left field. We'll see if we can get your right fielder for you for Head-Royce. His pitch is going to be swung on and missed for strike two. So Challoner no longer behind the plate, though he's in the game still. Meanwhile, Volpatti with one out trying to get on base yet again. Fouled back. Farinaro, this is my best fastball.
Yep.
Volpatti just misses it.
Well, they always say if you foul the ball off directly behind home plate like that, then you're just a fraction off of making great contact. We'll see what happens here on 2-2.
Low, 3-2.
Whew, full count here. Love it. Went with the off-speed pitch, just missed low and outside. See if he challenges him here with the fastball.
Strike three, caught him looking. And they're two down in the inning. That was right at the knees. Nothing Volpatti could do about that pitch.
Especially after you just saw the off-speed pitch about 15 miles an hour slower right before that. Then you got the fastball. Right at the knees, perfect location. Nothing you can do about it.
You know, you just got to try to think fastball every time and keep your hands behind the breaking ball. That's all you can do as a hitter.
And then tip your cap.
Yeah, exactly. Stevens fouls that pitch off. Stevens has struck out twice, reached base on an error by Farinaro, who bounced a pitch to the plate for strike three in the first inning. 0 for 2 is Stevens. Strike two.
Dealing.
I may be way out here in left field, Brian, but even I could see that was right on the outside corner at the knees.
Seems like Farinaro is getting better as the game progresses, Jeff. Getting more dialed in, and he's throwing just as hard now as he has all game long.
That's fouled away. Well, one thing I can see he's doing that's different from last inning when he struggled with his control is he's leaning back a little bit more in his pitch. You'll see it on this next pitch, folks. We'll see if he does it again. But he steps back, and as he cocks back with his arm, he's actually bending his back backwards a little bit. There it is, that little dip with the right knee. That pitch is low, 1-2.
That was a pretty good breaking ball there.
I don't
That did not
know
miss by much.
how Stevens held up. He has better vision than I do. Here's the 1-2 coming up from Farinaro with 2 down in the bottom of the 5th inning. That is strike 3 looking on a breaking ball that would make a baby cry. What a pitch. We go to the top of the 6th inning. And Farinaro's got his team a 7-1 lead and kept it right there from the 2nd now to the 6th inning. It'll be Matt Forster, C.J. Novogradac, and Michael Greenfield due up for the Jayhawks here in this Division V championship game. And folks, want to let you know that we'll have more coverage from the North Coast section next year, football. And I know it seems like, gosh, we're just finishing up the spring, and we were talking about football already, but you think about it, we're just a little over 2 months away from the 2013-14 school year. Of course, we'll let you enjoy your summer vacation first. Let's not rush things, folks. Some of you who still have kids in school. Others who've already graduated and are enjoying their break. Well, after that, you can go ahead and check out our coverage for football next year in the North Coast section right here on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. As Kolashaw out there for another inning of work. Jeff Kurtz alongside Brian Vilvin, Andrea Palladino, doing all the video for us today on what has been an outstanding day here in the Bay Area. One of 10 baseball and softball games we're covering in the North Coast section.
It really has been a perfect day, Jeff. We've already been up to Moraga earlier today, and it was gorgeous up there. And brilliant weather down here in Fremont. Perfect baseball weather. Feels like summer.
It does. We've got games going on right now, baseball and softball. You could check them out after we're done here. Also got a couple of softball games this evening, a 7 o'clock game, as a matter of fact. So that'll be our last game of the 2012-2013 school year. We'll be covering on PlayOnSports.com. This one swung on and missed, so quickly 0-2 on Forster, who is doubled, drove in 2 and scored in the second. He's also struck out and reached on a walk, 1 for 2. That one's in the dirt. Novogradac, Greenfield to follow, and then perhaps Ian Peters, as we've got some activity down the line for Head-Royce down that third base line. I don't know if they're going to be putting someone in for Farinaro. Here's a ball hitting the air towards center field, but with a bead on it, Valley Christian, and grabbing it is Thomas Navarro for the first out. A fly out to center, 1 down in the top of the 6th inning, and Novogradac steps to the plate. Walked and scored in the first. Singled and drove in a run in the second, grounded to short in the fourth. And he puts one in the air towards left. Schaefer's got a bead on it. Schaefer is going to fade back on it and make the catch. That has been a tricky left field so far today, Brian.
It sure has, and from our vantage point, when we look up at that sun is right in your eyes, doing a nice job keeping it out of his eyes and making a play, Hunter Schaefer, but
took a deep breath after that one.
Yeah, it's tough to judge where that ball is going to be going in this high sky.
There's a swing and a miss from Greenfield. Not only that, but there's some cloud cover now too, so you got to pick the ball up. Sure, the major league players make it look easy, folks, but that's not a simple task as this pitch is outside for a ball. Greenfield doubled in 3 runs in the first, walked in the second, lined out to third in the fourth. 1 for 2. There's a strike.
Kolashaw just dealing.
Yeah, Kolashaw has been very, very good in relief of Dalrymple. That one is in the air towards right, and it's going to fall for a hit. Holding at first base is Greenfield, his second hit of the game. Nice job for the senior here. A couple of hits in the ball game. He's driven in 3. He's been on base 3 times out of 4 trips. And Ian Peters would like a little bit of that magic dust to land on him. 0 for 3 in the game. He's struck out a couple of times. And he came in batting .392. So this is a rare 0 for 3 so far for Peters, who's promptly going to foul that one off the third base dugout screen. Home team elected to take the first base dugout. Valley Christian, Head-Royce, the visiting team, the number 2 seed, facing the number 1. Took the third base dugout.
You talk about kids having a good game. How about Michael Greenfield for Head-Royce? His 3 RBI double in the first inning really set the tone for this game, and the game hasn't been the same since then. Another base hit for him, and he's having himself a nice little championship game here. Perfect day to do it.
Might be all Farinaro needs is that double to knock in 3 in the first. 1-1 on Peters. Way outside, 2-1.
2-strike, 3 RBI double.
Yeah,
how about that?
0-2 as a matter of fact, with 2 outs in the inning. I mean, maybe the game's a little bit different. If Dalrymple's able to get Greenfield out, nobody scores, gives Valley Christian a boost. This ball is outside, ball 3, 3-1. You know, it makes for a very interesting. Then maybe Valley Christian, with what they were able to manufacture in their half, they go into the second inning. They're up 1-0. Yeah, and that's a big boost against a tough pitcher. This is drilled to left, and it's going to one-hop the wall. Schaefer is on it quickly. The throw into the infield with 2 outs running on contact was Greenfield. He's over to third, and Peters, with a stinging single off the wall and left, is on base for the first time in the game, and everybody in the order for Head-Royce has reached base in this game.
Well, that ball was tattooed, and that's the first time we've really seen that solid of contact against Kolashaw. And that ball short hopped the fence here, and nice job by Schaefer to get that ball in quickly to the cutoff man and keep the runner Greenfield at third base as we get a
Kyle Russell
runner coming in here.
Kyle Russell, the freshman, on to run for Peters. Russell at 5'6", 140 replaces the 6'7", 285 Peters. You could stack Russell on top of himself, and he'd match Ian Peters. Here's the first pitch. This is going to be hit towards center field, and a nice job squaring that one up. Thomas Navarro grabs that at knee level. Not an easy play for the third out of the inning. Runners stranded at first and third. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Head-Royce still leading at 7-1. You're following the action right here on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
It's the last day of events here in the North Coast section, but you can relive all the great games we covered in the 2012-2013 season by going to our on-demand page. Catch all the great highlights from this high school sports season right here on your destination for high school sports in the North Coast section, PlayOnSports.com.
Bottom of the 6th inning. Valley Christian's got the heart of their order coming up. And Farinaro out there for another inning of work.
And getting stronger and stronger as the game wears on, Jeff.
Actually, we might. Yeah, it is Farinaro still out there. For a moment, I thought we had a relief pitcher, and I was going to test Mike Talps for heat stroke or something like that if he's replacing his star out there on the mound, given how well he's pitching and how many innings he has left. And he's got 9 innings he can throw today as part of the innings limit that the North Coast section is set up for pitchers that you can pitch in a week. 10 is the max. He threw 1 earlier this week. This is his final game of his senior year, headed to UCLA next year, or perhaps a Major League Baseball team, depending on where he goes in the draft. So certainly some options for this young man, and some good options to have when you're 17, 18 years old and wrapping up your senior year at an outstanding school in Head-Royce that's been around for 125 years. And let me tell you, they have got a high GPA on their roster. Kids going to, not necessarily to play baseball, but kids heading to Stanford, Vanderbilt next year. Stanford, a small college in the southern part of the Bay Area.
You may have heard of it.
You may have heard of it, yeah. I think their mascot's a tree. As if Valley Christian's going to make a move, Brian, it seems like this would be the time. The heart of your order coming up, and Farinaro deep into the game now. If you're going to claw back into this one, you probably need a big inning, and it's tough to put up those kinds of runs against Stephen Farinaro.
Well, if they can get it started right now with Dalrymple at the plate, I know he would love to get something going here for his team.
He takes up and in for ball 1.
Struggled a little bit on the mound in the early goings here, and he'd love to contribute here on the offensive end for the Vikings.
Swing and a miss. Maybe a foul tip at the plate. Dalrymple, a sacrifice bunt in the first and then walked in the third, so yet to have an official at-bat. Though he does have 2 plate appearances. Count is 1-1 on the leadoff hitter in this inning. That is a breaking ball that's a little bit up, and the count's 2-1. Good to see Valley Christian's team all up on the fence, trying to coax some runs from their offense, are they? And this one's going to be bounced towards second base. Gibbs on a very charitable second hop records the out. Well, in this ball game, Brian, that is and I'm doing a quick count here, folks. Five times Gibbs has made a putout.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to get a hit, don't hit it to that kid.
Seven strikeouts.
Reed Gibbs. Man.
6 strikeouts that resulted in outs as strike one to Kolashaw. So we've had 16 outs recorded in the game, 5 of them by Gibbs and 6 of them on strikeouts.
That is pretty impressive stuff right there.
There's a strike on a breaking ball. So 0-2 on Kolashaw, who struck out looking in the first and grounded out unassisted to Peters in the third. Pretty much it could be Gibbs, Peters, and the pitcher and catcher right now. There's a pitch that's just in for a ball. That's just about all you need. I'm looking to see who else has made plays. Rooney on a pop-up. Peters unassisted. A short to first play in the first inning. Sacrifice bunt unassisted to Peters. It's been quiet in the outfield. The outfield has not had a play yet except for a base hit to left by Volpatti. This ball's in the dirt, 2-2.
Well, we've talked about how young Valley Christian is, and then you look at the Head-Royce side. They've got an all-sophomore middle infield with Nick Horner and Reed Gibbs.
They have not played like it. They really do seem like they're older than their years.
Absolutely.
If you had not told me that, I would have said junior, senior, easy.
Yep.
Gibbs, I would say, is the junior, Horner the senior. So this is both programs looking up down the road. This one's going to be bounced towards second base. There's Gibbs again. Over to Peters.
Of course.
Gibbs is going to need a new glove after this game's over. And there's 2 down in the inning. And the batter will be the catcher, Evan Opperman. Opperman grounded to short. That was Horner. He's also bounced to Gibbs, as just about everybody has on this Valley Christian roster today. 0-2. Farinaro blazes a fastball in there for strike one. It is so tough to hit. One of the toughest things to do in sports. That and hit a golf ball straight. There's pitch low, 1-1.
Make contact with a golf ball.
Yeah, really. Or a baseball. And that one's just sitting on a tee and grinning at you. Here's the 1-1. This one's going to be bounced toward third. Nice range. The throw to first base, and Peters can't scoop it. Almost got the short hop. Forster the error. Opperman is aboard. You know, the analogy for hitting, folks, is blink once. Even that time, you can discern if it's a fastball or a breaking ball. If it's a breaking ball, what kind of break it has on it, as you see it leave the pitcher's hand. Then put your body in motion, make a swing on things, and hit the ball. You could be a major league hitter. Blink twice, that's strike one.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, if you blink twice, it ain't happening. And now, Aaron McNeil, the coach for Valley Christian and coaching at third, out to talk to our second base umpire. I'm not quite sure why. Opperman was safe. The batter is Cantrell. I'm not quite sure what the controversy is here. Brian, I didn't really notice anything off on that play. And you would think you'd be talking to Mike Coleman if that was the case, because he's the umpire over at first. The second base umpire is Jason Hutchison.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the confusion could be here.
And if it was something that Coach McNeil was hearing from the Head-Royce dugout, you think he'd talk to our home plate umpire, Gary Kirshner, or even our third base umpire, who is Julian Macias, who might have heard something, because they are both closer to third base. So I'm not quite sure what Coach McNeil's concern is. But now he's having a conversation with both of our umpires. And a fairly heated conversation now as well. So maybe he's talking, I wonder if he's talking about Farinaro coming set on his pitches and that there might be a balk opportunity here.
Well, it's not just the second base umpire that can call that, correct? There's 4 umpires that can make a call on the balk.
Yeah, they could. Absolutely. I don't know why you would talk to our second base umpire, Hutchison, first, but maybe McNeil has been, I mean, we're out here in left, so we can't hear everything that's going on. Maybe Coach McNeil has been making a case for a balk call the entire game, and now in a critical situation looking to get a runner over in that type of situation. He wants to make sure the umpires are aware, but we'll see. Farinaro is set. His first pitch, strike one. The batter is Cantrell, and he has been keeping Reed Gibbs busy. He's bounced to him twice. Once a beautiful backhanded play by Gibbs in his last at-bat. The 0-1 to Cantrell. Swung on and missed, strike two. That was a rare pitch that Farinaro left up in the zone, but Cantrell couldn't catch up with it. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning, 2 out, a runner aboard on the error by Forster. The 0-2. This is hit into left field. That'll be a base hit. Hustling over, Hoxie is going to get to the ball and get it in quickly. And only the second hit of the game. Nice 2-strike hitting by Cantrell. He singles to left. And runners at first and second with 2 down, and the batter will be Matt Rooney. Rooney popped out on a bunt attempt in the second inning, then had an 0-2 count with 2 outs in the 4th and worked his way back and got the walk. So he's 0 for 1. We're going to have a courtesy runner for Cantrell.
Well, this is the opening you're looking for if you're Valley Christian.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity to get something going. A little 2-out rally.
And it's on the freshman's shoulders at the moment in Matt Rooney, who came in batting 175. 0 for 1 today. He has reached on that walk. Farinaro trying to keep it at 7-1. This one's fouled back by Rooney. Rooney was right on top of that. Matt Rooney in his freshman year can do a little pitching for Valley Christian, can play a little shortstop. Today he's at second base. That's a breaking ball, and that's fouled off the mask of home plate umpire Gary Kirchner, and the count is 0-2. Boy, Rooney, 2 good hacks.
Yeah,
those
real
first
good
2
cuts.
pitches.
Swinging with confidence.
The 0-2. Strike 3, caught him looking.
Wow, what a pitch.
Oh, boy. That fastball had some heat on it, and that completes the 6th inning. You are following the Division V championship game in the North Coast section, brought to you by PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. 7-1, Head-Royce leads it as we move to the top of the 7th inning.
Folks, we want to remind you to stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show, where we will select our player of the game. That's coming up following the game right here on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. And, Jeff, we have a lot of candidates for this player of the game. We've got guys on both teams that could put up a case for why they'd be the player of the game. And
traditionally, we've selected the player from the winning team. Could be Michael Greenfield, who drove in the first 3 runs of the game for Head-Royce. Certainly Stephen Farinaro, who's pitched an outstanding game, just 2 hits allowed and 1 run across. Reed Gibbs, who's wearing out his glove at second base with 5 or 6 putouts in the game so far, including 1 defensive gem in the 4th. And then for Valley Christian, Volpatti's had a really solid game. Colashaw on in relief of Dalrymple has pitched very, very well. In fact, he has only given up 3 hits.
yeah, he has been phenomenal since he's been in there.
And he's going to be facing Latucci, Challoner, and Horner. So that is the 9, 1, and 2 hitters in the order for Head-Royce, as we are in the top of the 7th inning. Head-Royce with what could be their last set of licks here to tack on an insurance run or two against Valley Christian going into the bottom of the 7th inning. And right now, looking into the dugout is Kolashaw. Not sure what he heard over there, but now he's going to step up, and here we go. Latucci looks at a pitch low, ball 1.
Kolashaw does not waste too much time between pitches. No. He gets it and deals.
Some major league pitchers could take some notes right here. Here's a breaking ball, and that's in for a strike, 1-1. In fact, you see that a lot at the high school level. You know, Major League Baseball talks about wanting to speed up the game. A couple rules they could implement. Here's a pitch that is going to be just outside 2-1. One thing that you can do at the high school level is you can just declare an intentional walk. So instead of throwing 4 pitches and walking a batter, you just say, we're walking this guy, and off he goes down to first base. That could speed things up. Here's a ground ball up the middle. That's going to get things rolling for Head-Royce in the top of the 7th inning. A single for Latucci, his second of the game. He was 1 for 3 going into that at-bat. The last time he singled, he scored in the second, and he singled to center field as he did just there. So 2 for 4 now. The batter, Challoner 0 for 1. He has walked and scored in the second. He's been hit by a pitch twice, both times by Kolashaw. He's now got a bandage on his left elbow. I don't know if that's a bandage or some padding. You'd be wise to come out in a suit of armor, perhaps, against Kolashaw. First pitch is a ball. That pitch is low, 2-0. So we talked about the automatic intentional walk, and the other thing you do at the high school level is it's very quick between innings, and guys are in the box ready to hit and on the mound ready to pitch right away. There's a pitch low, ball 2. Meanwhile, at the major league level, it seems like, I don't know what's up with batting glove manufacturers, but I don't think they make them with enough tightness around the wrist because guys are adjusting them after every pitch in the majors. Here's the 2-1. That is in the air towards right center field. Schaefer hustling, and it's going to fall in front of him, grabbing it the center fielder, Navarro. Holding at second, good base running Latucci. He had to go about halfway just in case Schaefer made the play, and it's a single to center for Challoner, his first hit of the game. And to start the 7th, Brian, runners at first and second, nobody out, and the 2, 3, 4 hitters in the order coming up for the Jayhawks.
Boy, Jeff, you got to feel for Hunter Schaefer right now because we're basically right at his vantage point. That is a really tough ball to see, especially off the bat, coming from that direction with the sun up here, the cloud cover, and yeah, just a really tough way to get a read on that ball. And Schaefer doing the best he could, unable to come up with the ball.
Warner 2 for 3 with a run driven in, a double, a run scored. He's walked. And he's going to drill this one towards the gap, but Schaefer is there, and he's going to throw to second base and almost double Latucci off the bag. Nice job by Schaefer, who had that played perfectly for the first out of the inning. You know, and one thing about outfield play, especially with a tough sky like this today, one trick, honestly, that outfielders sometimes use is when you can't see the ball and the ball's put in play and you can't see it off the bat, is anyone looking at me? If you are, you better start running if they are. But if they're not, then you might breathe a sigh of relief. And Schaefer has battled some tough elements out here in left today. There's a curveball. Beautiful pitch by Kolashaw against Reed Gibbs, strike 1. Gibbs 1 for 4 in the game. A stolen base, a run scored on a single in the first inning. He's popped out and grounded to short and third, respectively, in the last 2 at-bats. This one is going to be bounced towards short again. And it's going to be off the glove of the shortstop and into left field, and holding at third base is Latucci. And that was one where it looked like Volpatti, eager to make a play, just got a little ahead of himself. And on the error, the bases are loaded with 1 out.
If I was the Vikings right here, I would go to the umpires and see about
interference.
Maybe interference there. The third base coach pretty much tackling the runner to keep him there at third.
Yeah, I don't know.
Grabbed him. I'm pretty sure he made contact with the runner, and you cannot do that to assist him from going. I think that's what we're going to have a little conversation about here as Coach McNeil saw the same thing that I saw here.
Aaron McNeil coming over to talk to our third base umpire, Julian Macias, about that last play. Latucci was rounding, and his third base coach, Mike Bouch, trying to hold him up tackled him. Or at least, I think that maybe Macias is saying that given the short fences here, Bouch might have just been set up that when Latucci rounded third, he couldn't help but inadvertently run into his third base coach. That may be what the call is there. Here is a check swing foul ball. And that is strike one on the batter, Matt Forster, who has doubled in a couple of runs and scored in the second inning. He's reached on a walk. He's also struck out looking and flied out to center. 1 for 3 in the game. And the base is loaded, and the pitch is low, and the count is 1-1. There is one down in the top of the seventh in Valley Christian. It is very important for the Vikings to keep it right here at this 7-1 score. Corners in middle infield double play depth. That is low, 2-1. Forster, the cleanup hitter, looking to do some damage. Takes one high, and the count is 3-1. And now not only is it a hitter's count for Forster, but Kolashaw has nowhere to put him. You cannot pitch around him. The 3-1. Low, ball 4, and Forster drives in a run with a walk. His third of the game, third RBI. And Latucci trots in. And it's an 8-1 Head-Royce lead. And C.J. Novogradic is the batter. Novogradic also has an RBI on a single in the second inning. He walked and scored in the first, also bounced to short and flied out to left. 1 for 3 as well. With a run batted in and a run scored. Takes a big swing and fouls one off the end of the bat, 0-1. 8-1 the score. That pitch is low, 1-1. Nice job by Opperman keeping it close.
We've said that a lot as well.
Yeah.
You're right. Both of these catchers having great defensive games behind home plate.
The 1-1 pitch. Low again, 2-1. And the dangerous Michael Greenfield on deck. 2 hits in the game, 3 runs driven in. Kolashaw now from the stretch, the 2-1. Strike on the outside corner. The count is even with 1 out. Novogradic going to have to protect. 1 run in. It's the first run for Head-Royce since that second inning. The 2-2. Check swing, and he just held up without blowing a ligament in his wrist. That was all the strength he could muster right there for Novogradic, and the count is full. Kolashaw needs to put one right down the heart of the plate on 3-2. He does, and he gets the outside corner for strike 3. 2 down, a big out for Kolashaw, and a great pitch on 3-2, and the batter is Greenfield.
That was a heck of a pitch. Had to throw a strike.
And Greenfield steps in, and he's going to take high for ball 1. Greenfield, 3 runs batted in with a double in the first inning. That made it 3-0. It's really been all Head-Royce has needed so far. He also singled in his last at-bat. This one is going to be fouled straight back. He's walked as well and lined out to third. 2 for 3 in 4 plate appearances. And a 1-1 count. Kolashaw gets strike 2, and the count is now 1-2 as the wind picks up again. Just briefly gusting from time to time here at Fremont Christian. That one's low, and the count's even at 2-2.
Well, we know he can hit with 2 strikes.
Yep, that double in the first was on an 0-2 pitch. The 2-2. In the dirt, 3-2. So for the third batter in a row, Kolashaw has got 3 balls on a hitter. On a 3-1 pitch, he walked Forster. On a 3-2, he struck out Novogradac. Now he's got a 3-2 with 2 outs, and the runners are going to be in motion here for Head-Royce. The pitch, fouled away. All you got to do is, if you're a base runner, make sure Kolashaw makes his move to home plate. Of course, he's out of a full windup right now, so as soon as he steps back, you can get in motion. There goes everybody. The pitch in the air towards left center field, deep and off the wall. That's going to get everybody home, and heading to third base is Greenfield. The throw is not in time. A bases clearing triple for Michael Greenfield. Have a day, young man. 6 runs batted in. He has cleared the bases 2 times. And that was close to a home run. If this fence wasn't 30 feet high out here in left field, Brian, that is out and would be a grand slam. Instead, Greenfield now 3 for 4 with 6 runs batted in. A single, a double, and a triple.
Unbelievable. Michael Greenfield, the way he's, with that swing of the bat, he may have just cleared up any doubt if there was any.
4 runs are in once again for Head-Royce. In this ball game, they have done everything in bunches. 3 in the first, 4 in the second, now 4 in the 7th. And they lead it 11-1. And Coach Allen is going to go to the bullpen. Or excuse me, Coach Aaron McNeil, I should say, is going to go to the bullpen. And it might be Opperman, who is choice number 3, which means you need a new catcher. And let's see if that's the case. Yeah, it is going to be Opperman. So Opperman now out to the mound. Kolashaw pitched well through the 6th. He got himself in a jam, almost worked his way out of it here in the 7th inning, but on a 3-2 pitch, Greenfield, we should just start him with 2 strikes every time he comes to the plate, because he seems to hit better with 2 strikes than he does in lower counts. And now Opperman on to throw, and we'll see who goes behind the plate for Valley Christian.
Vince Volpatti is putting on the tools.
So then shortstop, as we've got all kinds of activities. So Volpatti now behind the plate. And Opperman on the mound.
I think Dalrymple is going to go to short.
Dalrymple over to shortstop.
But what a
first base. We'll figure that out here for you in a moment, folks. But your scorecard is getting a little bit busy.
Before that bases clearing triple by Greenfield, Kolashaw came in and did such a nice job in relief. Just a brilliant game the entire way. And a ball wasn't even hit hard until the last inning. And only a couple balls the entire day on Kolashaw were actually driven. And that was late. You know, it might have been a little bit of fatigue. Wasn't expecting to be pitching as many innings as he did today. But a very valiant performance by that young man.
Well, so far, and actually it's going to be this way, only one of the runs has been earned against Kolashaw because of that error by Volpatti. That would have been the 3rd out of the inning after the strikeout by Novogradac. As now stepping in is Ian Peters. Peters 1 for 4 on the day with a couple of strikeouts, a flyout, and a single in his last at-bat. So the other 3 runs unearned, and if Greenfield were to score, that run is unearned as well. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. So a ball and a strike, and now an 11-1 ball game, and Head-Royce just 3 outs away from going back-to-back in this Division 5 title game. There's a pitch that's high, and the count is 2-1. This is not how Valley Christian envisioned this was going to go. And now they trail by 10. Here's a pitch low, and the count is 3-1. Peters to be followed by Farinaro. That is a check swing strike. Strike 3. And caught looking is Peters, and that will end the inning, but not before Head-Royce puts 4 up on the board, and they take an 11-1 lead into the bottom of the 7th inning. And it'll be Hunter Schaefer, Adam Michnowski, and Vince Volpatti. We're going to try to keep this one alive for the Valley Christian Vikings. You're following the action right here on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here today? Well, tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Brian Vilvin, Andrea Palladino providing all the video for you today here on PlayOnSports.com. As Stephen Farinaro goes out to the mound for his last inning of high school work for Head-Royce in an 11-1 ball game that he is leading, looking for his 12th win of the year, and looking to close it out right here as an appreciative Head-Royce crowd behind home plate giving him a nice ovation as he came out to the mound for his final inning of work as a member of the Jayhawks. Coach Mike Taub's telling us before the game, he said, on one of my first championship teams is now our current athletic director. He said, yep, I'm working for one of my former players, and I have a feeling that some of these guys on this team for Head-Royce, given the high IQ of some of these young men out here and some of the baseball talent that we're seeing on the mound today, Brian, we all could be working for some of these guys in a few years down the road as well.
Nothing to be ashamed of there.
No, not at all, as it'll be up to Schaefer to get things rolling for Valley Christian in this ball game in the 7th inning. Bottom of the 7th, trailing 11-1. He is 0 for 1 in the game. He got hit by a pitch in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 4th. One of 8 strikeout victims by Farinaro in this game. As the sun burns through the clouds here at Fremont Christian, Schaefer's going to foul this pitch off. Farinaro looking to make quick work of the Vikings in the 7th. And we'll take you to our PlayOnSports.com postgame show. That is a breaking ball. That is a beauty. And there is one out in the inning as Schaefer is retired, caught looking.
That was nasty, as they say, Jeff. You're talking about that 12-6. That was about 2 feet of break right there. Impossible to hit that one. It looks like it's going to be up at the numbers, and it ends up down by your ankles.
And it crosses home plate in the meantime. Adam Michnowski, the batter. I think Farinaro is going to have to register that pitch with the Fremont Police Department after the game. It's quite a weapon. Here's a pitch outside to Michnowski for ball 1. That pitch is low, 2-0. Michnowski struck out looking and was retired at first base in the 2nd inning when the ball got away from the catcher. Bounce to Reed Gibbs in the 5th. 0 for 2. This pitch is on the ground, and there's Gibbs ranging to his right and just gets Michnowski at first base for the 2nd out of the inning.
So is there a defensive MVP award?
That is 7 putouts by Gibbs.
Lucky
in
number
this
7.
game. 7 putouts. 8 strikeouts resulting in outs. That's 15 of your 20 outs right there, and then a couple of unassisted by the first baseman, Peters. It's been a silent day for the outfield. The batter is Vince Volpatti. And he takes strike 1 on a curveball. He's got one of 2 hits in the game, does Volpatti. He's also got hit by a pitch, stole a couple of bases, and scored in the 1st. He struck out looking in his last at-bat, the 0-1. Check swing, and he did not go around, says Mike Coleman, our first base umpire. And the count is even at 1-1. So Volpatti manages to hold up. 1 for 2 in this game. Trying to keep Valley Christian's hopes alive. Josh Stevens in the on-deck circle. That is in there for a strike, and the count is 1-2.
Boy, that heat after the off-speed stuff. Down to the final strike here.
Head-Royce, 1 strike away. Head-Royce fans on their feet. The 1-2. High, ball 2. Head-Royce crowd was ready to start cheering. They thought that was strike 3. Well, Patty, still an opportunity. The count is even at 2-2 with 2 down in the bottom of the 7th inning. The pitch. Bounce to the right side. There's Gibbs for the 3rd out. Yes, and that'll do it. Head-Royce is your Division V champion, 11-1 over Valley Christian. Well, if it wasn't going to be Marinaro striking out the final batter, it was going to be Reed Gibbs with a putout. It's been one of those two almost the entire game. And we've got the PlayOnSports.com postgame show coming up next, folks. Invite you to stay with us. We're your destination for high school sports in the North Coast section. PlayOnSports.com. Back with more in a moment. Back here on PlayOnSports.com from Fremont Christian High School. It's the PlayOnSports.com postgame show, the Division V championship in the books in the North Coast section. And it is Head-Royce with an 11-1 win over Valley Christian, the number 2 seed. Once again, Head-Royce, last year a 3 seed, this year a 2, defeats the number 1 seed Valley Christian, second year in a row. And Stephen Farinaro dominating, Reed Gibbs outstanding defense. And Michael Greenfield, 6 runs batted in, just 1 hit shy of the cycle, a single, a double, and a triple.
And he may have had a home run in there if the wall wasn't 30 feet high, about 370 feet away. Just an outstanding offensive performance by Michael Greenfield. We had some great defense by Reed Gibbs and a complete game 1 run by Farinaro, and just a
2-hitter.
All-around great game by the Head-Royce Jayhawks, a very deserving champion here in Division V for the North Coast section.
Jeff Kurtz alongside Brian Vilvin. Brian, as we look at our player of the game, certainly fine candidates to choose from, but for Head-Royce, we finally decided on
Michael Greenfield.
That's right, with the 6 runs batted in, and that first bases-clearing double on an 0-2 pitch in the first inning proved to be the decisive blow in this game. And you wondered, with as good a pitcher as Farinaro is on the mound, with so few hits and runs he's yielded this year, a .8 earned run average coming in, it wasn't going to take much more than 2. And it didn't take any more than 2 that was required for Head-Royce, so they ended up with 11. And Greenfield bookends those first 3 runs batted in with 3 more at the end of the game in the 7th inning to provide the final margin of victory, 11-1.
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance by Michael Greenfield. You said it, that double on an 0-2 count in the first inning really set the tone, because if Dalrymple's able to get him out in that situation, and then Valley Christian takes that 1-0 lead in the bottom half of the inning, it's a brand new ball game. You never know what's going to happen. Michael Greenfield getting it done for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, absolutely. Valley Christian goes, and now they've got a lot of confidence. Dalrymple goes out with a 1-run lead with a lot of confidence, and maybe it's a different outcome. But instead, Greenfield, the difference maker in this one, and then between Farinaro and Gibbs, they set it down the rest of the way, and the offense exploded for 4 in the second for Head-Royce and 3 in the seventh on that Greenfield bases clearing triple. Well, folks, I'd like to thank everyone here at PlayOnSports.com who made today's broadcast possible and this whole year possible in the North Coast section. There are a lot of people to thank, and we're certainly not done with our broadcasts today, as we've got more softball and baseball going on, and then a final softball game at 7 o'clock in the evening on PlayOnSports.com concludes our coverage of high school sports in the state of California in the 2012-2013 school year. We'll have an interview with Michael Greenfield, our player of the game, that we'll put up on our website next week. It won't be live, but we'll tape that and put it up next week for you. And that's, again, part of the productions that we provide here on PlayOnSports.com. But in order to thank everybody who made this year possible in the North Coast section from our staff, I'll thank those people who are with me here today. Our videographer has been Andrea Palladino. My broadcast partner and producer today, Brian Vilvin. Our technical staff, Brian Carter, Bill and Will Rigdon. And our editing staff, led by Jason Devine. I'm Jeff Kurtz saying so long from Fremont Christian High School. The final score, Head-Royce 11, Valley Christian 1. The Jayhawks are your Division 5 champion. We will see you in the fall, folks, as we get ready with football in August. Late summer, I guess you could say. We're your destination for high school sports. PlayOnSports.com. Good night, everybody.